You are now with Demigod. All right, so back to talking shit about this pizza.
So what you guys missed in our off pod is that San Antonio's has the best pizza in America. They all confirmed that. They don't have to say again.
Who is they all?
They,
To America.
they all say
Yeah,
it.
you're-
So
And
you're
Lay,
stretching
I'm
it.
honestly flabbergasted that you're
Yeah.
condoning this BS.
I
because
said
you've
it's
had-
top 3
no,
in
but
Bergen
listen,
County.
Lay.
Yes.
You've had pizza from this place, yes.
Yes.
But you have not had pizza from some of these other places.
I
wouldn't even say
had
that.
A good amount of pizza.
I hear a
in
lot of
places.
bias.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Definitely.
No, I
using
think
a lot of
it's,
bias.
I think
100%.
it's the top 3.
But how many
But you
pizza
had-
places have you tried?
Exactly.
a lot. You know who
What's
doesn't
a
have?
lot?
would say
You know who
a
doesn't have good pizza?
couple, though.
Virginia.
I went to high
Virginia has terrible pizza.
No, anywhere outside of Jersey and New York, I think has bad pizza.
Yeah. Well,
It's just-
Detroit, the Chicago pizza is pretty good. That thick.
Nah,
thick.
I don't like.
What, deep dish?
It's a casserole.
Yeah, it's pie.
Yeah, I don't
It's a
like
pie.
shit
It's
like
delicious.
that.
Pizza.
It's delicious.
It's a pie.
That's a little too thick for me.
But yeah, I'm not. You're not getting top 3.
He said it's a
county,
pie.
Whatever. Whatever. We
I-
can agree to disagree.
And you're
Yeah.
vegan, so you're what you think about cheese.
I agree to
What
that
you-
point. I
what you
agree.
what you think about cheese is no longer valid.
That's not true.
Sorry, bro.
I agree.
Cardboard with tomato sauce on it probably tastes better than your day-to-day meals, all right?
What do you say?
I'm coming at veganism. That's what I'm doing.
I hope they cancel you.
They need to cancel you.
Okay, you guys aren't a religion. Fuck vegan.
I hope.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jace, for
Sorry,
recording.
no,
Wait,
not-
what?
Jace, the mics are hot, right?
Not the
How did
vegans.
that even get
Listen,
to that point?
I'm not a veganist. I just participate in the
Not the
meal.
vegans in this room, but fuck vegans, all right?
But like, what?
And I'm
How
ta-
did
and
we
I'm
get
talking-
to
I'm
that
talking hot,
point?
yeah.
We're
They're
cool.
gonna cancel you like Fresh and
He's
Fit.
done.
I don't know. You
He's
might
done.
get canceled for that.
He's done.
You think I'm gonna allow people that eat certain foods cancel me? No.
Yep,
All
got
right.
him.
Absolutely.
I didn't-
Just what we needed.
Because you're being
What?
It's prejudice.
prejudiced. Yeah.
Yeah, it's prejudice. You
Exactly.
discriminate against vegans.
No. I'm being an asshole right now. I'm
No,
not being
you're
prejudiced.
prejudiced.
Too
You're
late.
prejudiced against vegans.
Too late.
If you think I'm afraid of a food community, you're
You
very
better
mistaken.
be.
You better
That's
be.
the problem.
You better
You're
be.
not afraid. You better be.
Why should I be afraid of
You ever been
vegans?
chopped up with gardening tools?
First off, you can't even chop me up because I'm made of meat.
Oh,
So
that's a good
That would
point.
just be pointless.
No.
If I was a broccoli, I think I'd be a little more.
We just don't eat you. We're gonna feed you to the animals that need it. And show you how it feels.
Wait, I saw a
you in
video
cow
on TikTok of this guy feeding his piranhas steak.
Oh, that's OD.
And he was like, normally I would give them goldfish, but like they have to prep the goldfish before they feed them to the piranhas. So he was like, he just literally dropped like a slab of steak in the
Was it
fish
raw?
steak. Yeah.
And they
I
just
wonder
ate the
what
whole
They
thing.
went crazy.
Piranhas?
Yes.
Bro, those are some scary things, bro.
Yes.
Them shit's
How
scary.
big are they? How big are the fish?
They're,
It was like this big.
piranhas aren't that big, but there's so many of them.
Yeah.
It's like
So if I
And-
fell in the water full of piranhas,
You're gone.
done,
That's it.
Yeah.
done.
It's gonna take a minute, but
Done. Yeah.
It's gonna
And
be
they
painful.
don't
That's it.
Painful.
They don't attack
100%.
each other. Like they're scared to attack each other because they don't want to be proven as the weakest link. So they don't like fight with each other. So they can exist like not fight or eat each other, but they'll eat anything else. And as soon as you start fighting with one of them, they'll just all eat you because you're already like the weakest link.
that's a great metaphor.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
For vegans. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't want to beef this.
There's already beef, bro.
You gonna leave me hanging on there?
Yes,
All right, cool.
there's beef.
It's smoke. It's smoke today. All right. We was going through our little hat of questions, so we pulled the question. I'm pretty sure one of them was your question, but
I mean, I ask great questions.
it was a little deep. So,
I do ask great questions.
I do ask great questions.
all right, this is one of yours. I'm pretty sure.
That's
right?
not my handwriting.
It's not.
No.
All right.
It's probably
What is more important, obtaining or letting go?
Yeah, it's not my handwriting.
Is you? As you?
I would say letting go.
I agree.
Letting go. Because even if you want to obtain a lot, like you want to be successful, it's going to be more important the things you say no to. So you have to be able to say, no, I'm not doing this, let go of that, and just do what you need to do and focus. And to focus means the minimum, not taking in a lot. So I think it's easy to take things on, but it's really hard for people to be like, no, I'm not doing this, or let go of a past relationship, let go of past trauma. So I think it's harder and more important to let things go.
I'm gonna go with obtaining, because I feel like that might come. Like, I agree with what you just said, but I feel like that comes with it. Like, if you get the knowledge to understand the fact that I can't have all this clutter in my life, and I, need to purge certain things from my system, and I can't do this and I can't do that. I feel like that comes with knowledge, because you were talking about before, certain things that you're doing and certain things that you're not doing anymore, and that's definitely knowledge that you probably gained. It was like, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I should step away from that.
But I had to let go.
Okay.
So all of that stuff that I cut out, I'm letting go.
Mm-hmm.
So are you letting go or obtaining?
But I think it's both.
Maybe they coexist.
Yeah, because you have to get the knowledge to know that you need to let those things go. So I think you obtain that knowledge first.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
You feel me?
That was very Plato of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What about you, Lev? What do you think?
I think obtaining, because like the things that you've experienced or like the things that you have are the reason that you're moving forward. And although like, you do let things go, I feel like we obtain way more than like we let go, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're always learning new things, going through new phases and things like that. So I feel like obtaining is like the ultimate goal. So I would say obtaining.
Do you feel like, because obviously last episode we was talking about yin and yang. At what point does letting go become something bad, and at one point does obtaining something become bad? Like too much of either?
I've seen a lot of people let go to like the extreme, like just like in your house, for example, people think if they let go of everything, they won't be like hoarders or it won't be too much. Then it's just blank walls, them in a space, you know? And then the people that have, okay, I can't let go of everything, they become hoarders and it's just too much. So I think sometimes it might be a little like unhealthy or like OD, like to just, I'm gonna let go. Oh, well, see you, I'm letting go of you. I don't like that car. I'm gonna let go of the car. I don't like my relationship. I'm gonna let go of that. I just feel like you need a balance. Yeah. Like all things is definitely a balance.
Yeah, I think anything done to the extreme
is OD.
Is too much.
Right.
There's, like I said, life's a balance. You can never, if you too much of anything, is just not good for you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think it's like an awareness thing.
Yeah.
Like you get to a point where you're like, okay, I gotta let this go because of X, Y, and Z, or I gotta obtain this. And to obtain this, I gotta let go, or whatever the case is. So I feel like it's just a lot about like your awareness and what phase you are in your life.
Yeah.
So you said that all things need a balance, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that your vegan lifestyle needs a balance?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say no, because it depends on how you categorize and how you view food. So some people would say meat is a protein, for instance, and they're big on you need to have a lot of protein. But if protein is your choice of thing, well, per gram, meat doesn't even have the most protein. So by eating other things, I'm still getting the balance in food that I really need. And as a human being, what you really need a balance of is micronutrients. You need a balance of vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin B, zinc, calcium, all these things. That's what you truly need a balance of. So as long as I know I'm getting that in my phytonutrients, I know I'm a healthy person.
Okay.
But I think Western culture has like dug into the minds of people that you need calories, fat, all the macro nutrients. You need calories, fat, protein, when in reality the micros are way more healthier for you, and what you should really make sure you're getting a proper balance of. So to answer your question.
And you need to talk to your mans too, because I saw an interview with him, Jordan Peterson. Mm-hmm. The man said he only consumes salt, beef, and water.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's I've seen that too, so it's interesting. And I wonder if it has anything to do with like that. I don't know if this is politically correct, but like Caucasian, like having a Caucasian European background. Like his daughter, for instance, had this like rare autoimmune disease, and she fixed her autoimmune disease by only eating meat and eating nothing else. But that's like a lot of European descent people aren't lactose intolerant. Mm-hmm. But 75% or more of African Americans are lactose intolerant because we stopped producing lactate. So I wonder, like, if maybe hundreds and thousands of years, because if you're living in the cold, say you live in the cold, for a large part of the year, there is no fruits and vegetables.
You gotta give me.
So maybe they had to adapt to eating things like that, and that maybe over years and generations, hundreds and hundreds of years, their body is slightly more adaptive to it, and they never built up, I guess, certain things like eating certain fruits that they could digest. So I don't know how that works, but I know for me, this is what works best for me. And you know, I come from African descent. I'm Jamaican. Like, you know, it makes me healthier.
Right.
So
That is an interesting diet to me because it's like, if I wake up for breakfast, I have to have a cut of meat or steak or something like that. It's like, what if you just want some, you know, oats and you just want to cook a little banana and some granola bar or some shit like that?
I knew someone who grew up in Russia, but they grew up in like the country cold of Russia, and they were saying like, if say you would have woke up and tried to eat fruits and vegetables, you wouldn't make it because your body burns off so much calories to heat itself up in the cold that you actually need like a really big hearty breakfast just to survive in the cold for that long. So like I said, I think it just depends on like your background, and they say that the human brain evolved from eating a lot of fatty foods like high in nuts, high in fishes, like that. Omegas is what made our brain grow. And that's why like an ape has more digestive tracts because they were digesting leaves, and we shrunk our gut and digestive tract for bigger brain power because we don't eat like leaves and things like that. So you know, I think it gets deep. You know, it all depends.
That's why they call certain things brain foods.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely think that's true because even, I'm not sure if you said it on last episode or if you said it off air, but Leigh was saying that like she worked with somebody that their culture, they don't eat like an American breakfast. Like what was it? You said it was like a small lunch, right?
Yeah. So in Asian culture, they don't eat breakfast. They don't eat American breakfast, which is like, you know, toast, eggs, sausages, and things like that. They have like a light lunch. So it'd be like rice, vegetables, and like a protein. So I think that just comes like with like culture, time, evolution is basically like what Chris is saying. Eric must be talking about me. What Chris is saying, that just comes with like evolution. Your body is built for that. Like after a while, so this lady at my job, she made this funny joke, like she has mixed kids, and she was like, my kid's stomach was Puerto Rican until they were like 8, and then they got like a black stomach because then they became like lactose, like so I think it's just like genetics. Body.
There was there's a Auntie got it from Auntie. There's this African book that talks about it. Like it was saying like that people from African descent and people from Caucasian descent, like they just have a different way of eating, like a different, because of like their history. And because even think about like, so for instance, they say chlorophyll is really good. Like the chlorophyll goes into your blood and it'll protect you from the sun. So if you lived in Africa, you probably were eating a lot of greens because you needed the chlorophyll to help you from the sun. And then maybe if you were living in, you know, a place where there is no greens, you'd be a little bit different. Or if you grew up in the Americas where you had half summer, half winter, you might have had a little bit different things. So I think, like I said, I think it depends. You know?
That's right. I definitely agree with that. But with that being said, welcome back to another episode of the Demigod Chronicles. This is your boy, Asante Dai, a.k.a. Demigod. And we're back on another beautiful recording day with my co-host.
How you guys doing? It's Christian Lopez. We have a wonderful episode today. And we have a special guest. So excited to get to know her, get to know some of the things she's working on. So it's going to be a good episode.
Hey, it's your girl Leigh. We're here back another week with my brother man and my very special guest. Super excited for her to be here. Yeah.
Oh, we get snaps?
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Mo. My actual name is Moyanda, but Mo is just easier to pronounce. So.
It's a nice name, though.
Yeah, Moyanda is beautiful.
Thank you. Oh,
see?
For y'all.
Moyanda.
I got a question, though, before we move on. Your last name is Lopez?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, my great-grandfather was from Cuba.
Okay.
Escaped Cuba, went to Jamaica. Then from there, we went to Jamaican after that. But
Lopez
just stuck with the...
Yeah. Mine's Rodriguez. It's crazy.
You lying.
No, I actually got an Irish last name, though.
Yeah,
wow.
So Lopez. People get confused, especially because I grew up in Garfield.
Right when you said Lopez, I'm like, is he Jamaican?
And Christian Lopez? Oh, my God.
Wow.
When I graduated middle school, they were like, Christian Lopez. the teacher almost was like this ain't you, because half the school is Hispanic, so they're like, this ain't you. Like, I was like, no, that's me. I'm Christian Lopez.
It's crazy when we were younger, we associated like being Spanish with being like fair skin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like it's like being Afro Latina is like
I know black or
is a
Dominican.
thing.
Right, right.
Now it's like, you
Yeah.
gotta wear it. Like,
After visiting DR, I'm like, yo, Dominicans are really black, bro.
This is the
black
bro.
as hell, bro.
These people helping me darken me, and I'm like,
Black as hell.
I'm like, what's your name? Oh, no, he ain't say shit just now. All right, my bad, cuz.
Look just like you. Look just like me.
I literally thought you was gang. I mean, everybody's gang. We're all of the same race.
Lucy, right?
Humans. We up.
Ethiopia.
But yeah, we was talking about foods and stuff. And for those of you that don't know, the food pyramid was a conspiracy. That's what they told us we needed.
So it was meat and protein.
Yeah, it wasn't fucking true. So
Yeah, we knew that in like elementary school because it
Facts.
changed every other year.
they're like, oh, but you need fats and oils now, and you need this.
New pyramid, y'all, new
Yeah.
one. How does
So
that work?
speaking of conspiracies, what is a conspiracy that you think is true?
They killed Dr. Sebi.
That's not a
That's not a
conspiracy. I thought we
They
knew
did
that.
shit. They locked,
Yeah, I thought everybody knew that.
yeah, they locked him up, and he couldn't get his the food he needed. So
Tupac is still in Cuba. Well, he's in Cuba.
I think they assassinated JFK.
They
Definitely.
did. I thought we knew that though. I thought these
Well,
were
well,
like
so
no
all my
fact.
conspiracies
No, no, no.
is kind of no fact that
That's what I
yeah,
thought.
he
No,
was assassinated, but I'm about to clean my cousin up. I got you. But you're saying the reasoning behind it
Yeah.
is the conspiracy that you might believe.
is it the government?
I mean,
I believe
They
that.
gonna come
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
us after this.
I believe that.
I think they said he was trying to change too many things.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a crazy.
Because then his
one.
brother died, he died, then his family died. It's like all the Kennedys
Yeah,
kept dying.
they always do that.
Something going on with the Kennedys that they're
Word.
killing them.
What do you have?
I'm big on conspiracy theory, but only because there's always half truth, and I stick with that half truth point. But the whole what's my girl Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell,
Tell me about that one.
and old guy that killed himself.
Epstein.
They are not the biggest players.
You
Oh
don't think so?
no,
They are not. They're just like
They're
the
the-
scapegoats. Like I feel like they were about to get
they're the sacrifice.
right. I feel like the people that like the biggest players, they were running the government, yada yada. They were about to get like put out, like revealed. So they was like, okay, let's go ahead and. I mean, of course, those two were probably like recruiting the girls and bringing them down to the islands. But they was like, okay, let's just put them out to the forefront. These are our biggest players. And oh, dude, I don't think he killed himself either. I think they put him in a cell and then they killed him and said,
They
that's
def
it.
killed.
And old girl, now that she's locked up, I believe that they're going to kill her too. And the names, and they had Barack
you see-
Obama on the list.
Word,
Did you
that
see
flight
the
log was
Like, what?
crazy.
Yeah, they had Hope on there,
flight
Kanye
log was crazy?
West.
I believe
No,
every name on there, though.
I think some of that name log was actually fake.
No,
Like-
I don't
like that
believe
one. Like there's a name log, but then people were, you know how people the internet does.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
But I
Nah, but
still
there's-
believe everybody
there's
got their hands
There's a
in
picture
it.
of one from the flight log that went to court.
Because you know what
Right.
got me? You know, I realized that people do stuff like that, and I was actually really upset. So I saw a legal document,
Right.
like stamps, sealed on the internet. I'm reading through it. Turns out it was fake, bro.
A deep fake.
How do they even have the like that should be? If I want one thing to be illegal,
Scamming.
bro, you
That's
can't do
number
like.
one
How do
in
they
this
do
Bro,
country.
there's some
that?
fake videos now, bro.
That's insane,
It's
bro.
called it's a deep fake. It's a people where I think the technology was first developed for like propaganda purposes, and then it got into the obviously the hands of just like people in the public, and now people are just using it for some wicked
I
shit.
think I was listening to Dick Gregory, and he was saying how that's how they got Malcolm X, because they didn't know they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they faked like letters to him from like people
Yeah.
in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
But and he's like, and Dick Gregory was like saying, poor Malcolm, like he didn't know they had that type of technology where they could make a deep fake like that and make it look real. But that's not right, bro. I should never. I don't care if I'm on the internet anywhere, be reading something from the New York District Attorney, and it's just a fake someone made on it. First off, who has the time to just be on the internet making fake court documents that look real? Like that's
People
like,
that want to switch the narrative.
but I feel like that's
You know?
like a commitment almost. Like you
I
gotta
agree.
commit some hours to this. Like,
Word.
you just got hours in your day. Like I'm just going to spread fake news on the internet.
I mean, that's
People
what
be having
essentially
shit to
that's
do.
what propaganda really is, though, bro.
Right.
Like there's people that spent time creating narratives in certain wars about. Like, we can use Germany. There was people that were devoted to creating like documents and basically just proving the fact that people thought Jews were wrong.
Yeah.
Or they were being selfish in their society and all that stuff. So they just kept releasing content to feed that. It was wrong.
I've been taking a personality course for the past week and a half, right? And one of the personalities is conscientiousness. And the guy was like, we really struggled with this one because like we really don't understand like why it would be bad to be overly conscientious. But he was like, if we look at it from what's not bad with it, but what too much of it could be like, we fall on someone like Hitler. So Hitler, they said, was extremely conscientious, which can be explained by orderliness and industrialness. They said before he went on his, because they said the way he viewed that was he felt that the human race had like pathogens and viruses in it, and his goal was to cleanse the human body, and a cleansed human would be like blonde hair, blue eyes. That's like the perfect human cleanse, no parasites. But he said before he did that, and this is where they could have saw that maybe he would eventually go too far, is his first thing was to cure tuberculosis. So he would go around the street checking people for tuberculosis, and he was curing that. The second thing he started doing was cleaning out the factories because they had mad rats in it. So he was just going around cleaning things, cleansing things. And then the first thing he did was he went to hospitals and said, we're going to cleanse the hospitals. But what did he mean by that? So those people who you're like, they're going to die anyway. Like, was euphemism? Was it called? Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to die anyway. He just started taking them out. Like, what's the point? They're not going to have good lives when they come. Like, just kill them. Get rid of them. And that was like the first thing where they were like, and the gas he used to clean the factories with turned out to be one of the same gases he ended up using to kill the Jews in the concentration camps. So like you could have saw that his over addiction to things being in order and things being perfect and doing his duty. They said he used to pride himself on being able to hold his hand out the window for like 6 hours, like his famous salute.
Don't do it. So, we know what it looked like.
Yeah, but they were saying
that we need a screen grab of that.
but they're just saying that, like, when understanding personalities, like you could have saw that in Hitler, like this guy is gonna go too far if he doesn't like cool it. Right. But they were like they had a trouble figuring out what's wrong with conscientiousness. They used Hitler to figure out that maybe this is what it is. Like if you're too orderly, you're too because orderliness is associated with the emotion disgust. Mm-hmm. So the more disgusted someone is, men tends to be more orderly they are. So like he was disgusted by the fact that like not blonde hair, blue eyes, like you weren't a clean human being. Like it disgusted him. And he was so disgusted by it, his only mental thing was to get rid of it.
Yeah, he was tripping.
Yeah.
For a fact.
I mean, he was tripping, but we still live next to people that have that same mindset. Mm-hmm. Not for like Jews, but I guess different races, different groups.
But do you think it's like would you consider that like a personality thing to that extent, or like people just flat out racist?
I think it's a mixture of both. So racism is initially taught, like you initially learn that behavior, right? But like most behaviors, you have to kind of believe a behavior. So you have your natural patterns. You believe if you wake up every morning and you brush your teeth, wash your face, eat breakfast, you're going to be good for the day, right? Mm-hmm. So those people believe if they wake up and they hate this race for the rest of their lives, they're going to be great, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a mixture of just the personality. That's a flaw, to be overly conscientious. So that personality flaw plus what they're learning, the learning behavior, plus the family dynamics, plus their environment. It's just a mixture, just a bad combo.
I think racism is so complex. Yeah. It's so complex because I think it's just a little mixture of everything.
Right.
Like I think it also a mixture of human nature. So like humans have this thing in us where we're social creatures. We like to put ourselves into groups, and whatever group that we feel like we're a part of, we assign all these like positive traits to it. And then anyone who's deemed to not be in our group, we assign all these negative traits to it. You can see that with like Republicans and Democrats, how they fight so much is because of that thing.
There's an actual term for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I forgot the.
But
term.
I think humans do the same thing with races, And so if you group yourself, so whatever you choose to group humans by, that thing's gonna kick in. That's why a lot of people say we got to stop saying there's racism to say we're the human race, because if you can if you can get every human to group themselves as the same, not black, white, Spanish, then that wouldn't happen. But it's just the way we group each other, so it's tough. So, but then also I think it's taught. Some of it's taught, but then human nature. Then it could be like your personality type as well. So I think it's very complex, and that's why Dick Gregory was like, he knew that when Obama got elected that he wasn't going to fix anything, because there was a study done where they put these hook people's brains up to this machine, right? They were showing them random pictures of like white faces, black faces, Spanish faces, white women, black women, and they said that every single time they showed someone the picture of a black person, black, white, didn't matter what you were, even if you were black, the part of your brain associated with fear started going off. So he was like, Obama couldn't fix that. We don't know how to fix that, you know? But yeah, it's so complex, man. It's
Where
crazy.
was this experiment done?
So it was a site. I gotta look into where it was done, but it was Dick Gregory was talking about it. I know I've heard of it before too, but I don't know like where it was done, who was the one that conducted it. But it's just deep stuff, man. It's
That's crazy.
Do you
It's
think
difficult.
people fear black people because of the crimes they commit, or because of the
Nah.
narrative people?
narrative.
White people commit way worse,
Yeah.
like
J-
crazy
n-
crimes
yes,
than black
yeah.
people.
A lot of this shit, well, not even a lot of it, all of it stems from ignorance.
yeah.
So if you don't understand, like, I know that if I fuck with hip hop and someone fucks with rock music and they don't fuck with hip hop, that's not a reason for me to not fuck with them.
Yeah.
But there's people that truly believe that if you don't fuck with what I fuck with,
Yeah.
I can't fuck with you.
yeah, it's
So it's like, I think a lot of people, they don't take the time to get to like, all right, like she said, it was passed down. Some people, you know, they might have been fed the idea that black people do this or black people do that, or this group of people does this. So they pass those ideas onto to their kids without even experiencing it themselves. So it's not like they went through a life to where it's like, oh, every time I turned the corner, there was a black guy and he robbed me and he did this, and stay away from them. It's just, no, they heard one thing.
Yeah.
They never experienced anything with that group of people. So they just passed an idea on that was never proven or disproven to them.
yeah. Did you see was it 2 elections ago? So not the one with Biden and Trump, the one with Hillary and Trump. So when Trump was saying like the whole build a wall Mexican, he was saying talking against Mexicans, there's a map, and it showed that, you know, who actually thought this was an issue. The people who didn't live with Mexicans, like didn't actually have immigration in their area, thought it was a bigger problem than people who actually had them.
Yeah.
So it's ignorance. You don't know, so you assume, or you can maybe go by what you see on TV or a TV show or what someone's saying. But if you actually live with these people and you interact with them on a daily basis, you realize there's nothing wrong with anybody. You know, they're just people.
Word.
It's also socialized though. So like we definitely get like a whole thing of ignorance, and I mean, of course, if you're not used to a certain group, you're just gonna assume based off TV, or somebody calls you and says, "Hey, all Asians are whatever."
Yeah.
You've never had an interaction with an Asian, so it's like the first time you do, oh, I heard that, you know, y'all eat people, so I'm good off y'all. Something like that.
Word.
You guys don't think that we're like I know racism is probably never gonna go anywhere, but like we're not so evolved now that these things shouldn't even like,
Nah.
I
Nah.
think
We're still animals.
I think the reason why racism
animals.
isn't going to go away is because people are always going to be prejudiced. Prejudice is literally a process that you have to have, because I have to, in my mind, and I don't mean prejudice to people, I just mean like you have to prejudge something before you do it. If I say we're going ziplining, immediately in your head, your mind's going to start going like, all right, what is the experience of ziplining is like? Or if I say we're going to walk down the street, you're going to start thinking, what is the experience of walking down the street going to be like? So if somebody says, hey, those people, their main food group is rice, right? Nothing should pop in your head that this person's a bad person because their main food group is rice.
Yeah.
But it's just like people start like, oh, but they don't like this and they don't like that, and they'll start drawing their own conclusions through their own experiences, and that prejudiceness is always going to be there because people just can't. Like, it should just be a clean slate. Like, you should just meet a person and meet them for who they are, not based off of whatever you think they were going to be.
Yeah, that's it. Like
I think
my
it's-
person. Continue.
Yeah. Let me just say this one thing, because you know I've been losing my thought. But like, I think too, we just like we're just way too educated now for like shit like this to be happening. No,
I don't know.
I don't think racism is ever gonna go away. I don't think.
No,
people
I'm
are
saying I don't
ever-
know if we're all educated.
Yeah,
Some.
that's
In this
very
room,
true.
maybe.
I don't
but
think no one
Yeah,
is.
but
I don't know.
that's,
honest.
it's Chris versus the internet.
Nah, I don't,
Always.
I don't even think
Oh,
I'm.
wait, let me get it put up. Let me get it put.
So, yeah, I just feel like we're in like such a awareness time period. Like maybe not us, but like I feel like maybe like our kids,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna see like some kind of shift, but like we're way too educated and aware now for like stupid shit, like for us to be dealing with two like things like that are ignorant anyway.
Yeah.
Like there's too many different restaurants now. Everybody wants to try this and do that, or everybody wants to look into this culture or get into like this TV show, and it's like Spanish or it's Asian or whatever it is. So I just feel like if you want to partake in people's culture and like you want everything once, like people want this new and improved like thing, I feel like they just need to become like more educated, and I don't know. It's just stupid for us to be this ignorant.
That's definitely stupid.
Yeah, I think.
It's
I think it's a
stupid
losing.
only because we know it's stupid. So the whole, remember the whole Play-Doh thing? I don't know if y'all touched on it, but a lot of people have. When they were in the cave,
Mm-hmm.
they got out the cave, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. So you only know it's stupid because you had the chance to walk out of the cave and see other things.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that are still in the cave
They're gonna
don't think
kill
it's
you.
stupid,
They're gonna kill you for what
and
you
they
think.
don't care. They cool with just chilling in the cave and not knowing.
My whole thing is like it's all around. Like so
For
how
you,
you
though.
staying in the cave?
But for every person you see that's, willing to indulge in other cultures and, have inclusion and all this stuff, there's
Right.
still a person that's thinks the
10 other
opposite.
people that are still
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the opposite.
And I would say it's definitely one. It depends on where you live. Like, it's easier for us because we grew up in like a city,
Jersey,
so we
yeah.
literally have, and we've met every single culture, so we know for a fact. There's some places in America where they only have, just like Chico sent a song. Sometimes the South Side make you realize it's still segregation. Like, there's some places where you only go to school. The whole school is 95% Mexican, 95% white, 95% black. They just go to school with each other. They don't really interact with other things, so they don't really get to see how the other people truly are and really get to know them on a personal level. And I think, like, the whole notion of, like, we're going to end racism, I feel like it's just a losing battle.
Yeah.
I think that people are, I don't know if wasting their time's the right word, but they're fighting a battle like you just can't win. Because, like, with Digger, how do you fix that? Like, how do you go into someone's brain and stop making their part associated with fear? Come on, I think you don't fix that by, quote unquote, trying to fix it. I think if you took the same amount of energy people put into fighting racism and then say, you know what, ignore that. We're going to take the same energy and only focus on building up ourselves, like do for self. Like Marcus Garvey always said, do for self. Like if you want respect and you want, quote unquote, to be seen as equals, then only build yourself up. Like don't worry about the government doing it for you. Like Nation of Islam said, build yourself, build your own wealth, build your own communities, and then people have no choice. You know what I'm saying? But if you're focused on, we're going to go to the government, we're going to make them put laws in that's going to end racism. It's not going to end racism.
But yeah. I don't think. I just think you have to basically get people to be more open-minded and open to learning
The
new
thing
things.
about that
It
is
doesn't
like
work.
You can't
I don't
try to
know.
stop racism because even
I'm a
if
skeptic.
you do what Christian
I
said,
think there's always gonna
and black
be
people become
oppressed
more evolved
and
and they start
oppressor.
to, do for self and they become, as a group of people, greater, right? There's now people gonna be, like we can't let ourselves be, underneath black people, and it's gonna turn to something else. So I just think you just have to just promote the fact that everybody is pretty much, their own person, no matter where they come from. Like you should just be open to meeting people, not a race. Don't
Yeah.
meet a person and be like, oh, I met an African person, I met a Nigerian person. You met a person, and where they come from is where they come from.
I think
you
it's
learn
so,
about their culture.
But I think that's so it goes against human nature so much. That's where it becomes so hard. Like you're telling someone to almost, even though it's possible some people could do it and maybe, but you're telling someone those first thoughts, that first automatic response that pop into your head, ignore it. And it sounds good.
No,
Yeah, but in theory, but it's human nature. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
but
it sounds good.
That would be
theory, but
towards prejudiceness. I mean, racism, like she said, is the act of getting up every single day and making the conscious choice to hate this person. That's not a natural thing in your brain. That's not click. That's taught. Mm-hmm. So that act of I'm getting up every day and I'm going to hate this person and I'm making no attempt to even understand what this person's from, the cloth they're cut from, any of that stuff. That's not a natural human response. That is taught to you. Mm-hmm. That's a human behavior that's taught. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I also feel like there's always going to be like an oppressed and an oppressor.
It's just a human power structure.
There's no fixing it. I think there's going to be a shift. Like
what do you mean
said,
by that?
For kids, oppressed and an oppressor.
Yeah.
The oppressed and the oppressor. I feel like there's always, it's just like the nature of like law, I guess you would say. Like there's always going to be somebody in charge and somebody that's like listening to the people in charge. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be, there's never, I don't want to say there's never going to be like a coexisting.
No.
Because I guess we coexist. But there's like, exactly. There's a hierarchy.
There has to be.
And unless
but
we're
let me
like,
ask you a question.
Unless brown people or black people or whatever are like, oh, we're going to get up and like all come together. Every kind of brown like person comes together. The only way that would happen
is like, let's say the apes decided to take over humans. That's the only way that, the oppressed would take over the oppressors.
So let me ask you a question though, because I agree with Jace.
Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Like,
I think you're saying like all the humans would now have to be like, all right, we're all on the same team.
No, so I'm saying the oppressed versus the oppressor.
Yes.
Commenced, with evolution, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So humans had to decide, okay, we are now on top of the hierarchy. We are over the apes, and everybody else figured it out, right?
Yeah.
After that, the feeling of being powerful, that evolved, and they said, you know what, we're all humans, but we're white, so now we are going to oppress everybody else. And then from that, I'm this color or I'm from this, I'm going to oppress these people. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So in order to ever get to a point where we could say black or brown people are going to like turn the flip, like, switch it, and now we are the oppressors or now we hold the most power is when pigs fly. So when the apes say, hey, now we control the power and the humans are now the apes.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys this question because I agree with Jace. I believe in hierarchies. But let me ask you
that's still a power problem.
Hold on, let me finish. Right. I always go somewhere with it. So right now for you guys, I always go somewhere. I don't start where I go, but I'm going to go somewhere. So let me ask you guys this now. Who are the oppressed now in today's world? Who are the oppressed and who are the oppressors?
Depends on what lens you're looking from.
In society,
if
who
you're
would you
looking
say?
Financial, the oppressed would be the people who don't have the money, who don't have the power to make decisions. If you look at,
I think we're talking about the generalized. I would say like, what are you trying to say? Like in like in our lives,
because that was more so the point you were making about how some people, there's always going to be oppressors and oppressed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So by what you were saying by that standard, who are the oppressors? Who are the oppressed?
I mean, I don't know. This gonna be a little.
Just go ahead and say it.
But I think
and keep what you said too.
Oppressor. I would start with the white man, I don't want to be like, I don't want to get too like crazy into this because this can get so
I think we're gonna get on a disclaimer. No one here is racist.
No, I think we're going on
equality.
I don't want to get
like
like
too
crazy into this, but I think it starts with the white, like your standard white man. Like we have so much. When we say racism, yes, we can coexist. Like I could go outside and chill and live my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if I go in the airport and they like run my day, like, you know, I'm checking in or whatever, they'll stop me because of my name, like, or they'll stop me like on some crazy shit, like
Malaysia. It's pretty close to Allah.
like on
Step aside.
Allah Jah.
like on some nut shit. And I feel like it's shit like that, like more of like the systematic racism that kind of makes us a little oppressed, or
So the system would be the oppressors, and the white people would be the enablers of the system. Is what you're saying?
But they created the system, so.
Exactly.
But you can also
Exactly.
enable something you created.
So this is, and I want to. So I got this from Dick Gregory, who was a leader of the civil rights movement. When you say white people, what do you mean?
when I say white people, I think of like corporate. But I don't want to say that. Nah, I just think of like your fucking average white man. Not average white man. I don't even know how to say this without it.
So what's the
coming
average white
out,
man to you?
like,
In your head.
coming out too wild.
We could be
But,
respectful.
like,
We gave our disclaimer already.
Yeah, what's the
You know, I just
average?
feel that-
What's the average?
Paint the character. It's a character, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it
not a
is.
real person. It's just like a...
Yeah, it's like a.
It's cartoonish.
Is it
just
the
like-
Wawa people we were talking about before?
No,
It's definitely
It's
not
just
the
like-
white people.
ignorant,
Okay, but what does he look like?
ignorant white
Give me
man.
some like give me what
Short
it.
hair? Long hair.
short
Long
hair,
What's he wearing?
Probably got a suit.
a suit,
Maybe
How much
40-ish.
money is he making?
corporate, over 6 figures.
How old is he?
I want to say 40s. Like, I'm talking about dudes like that really have some kind of impact for the people that work in like lower, or some kind of impact for, you know, people, minorities as a whole, for them to be impacted, whether it's financial, emotional, whatever. But that's like my idea.
So so then, what if I told you the person you described isn't the average white man?
I would believe it.
And the only reason I learned this from Dick Gregory too. He had a point. He goes, when he was like you said, one of the leaders of the civil rights movement. He goes, he used to always he said Martin Luther King was great because Martin Luther King behind doors, closed doors, would never call a white person a cracker or a honky. He said Martin Luther King was a great guy. He goes, with me, because he was a comedian. He said I used to make fun of him, all this stuff. He said when I got older and I started really understanding how the system works, because we went to go change it. He realized, he said, I've been mad at the wrong people. I've been mad at the wrong people my whole life. He goes, I realized it's not white people. He goes, I realized the white person I was mad at, he made a joke. He's like, even if they liked me, they wouldn't be able to help me. Like, even if they did like me, they would have no impact on. He was like, you really think the KKK were the ones in D.C. making up Congress and writing the bills? Like, do you really believe that?
Yeah.
He goes, people make a lot of mistake when they hear about white supremacy, because he goes, white supremacy is not, oh, white people are superior to black people. He goes, there's a certain amount of people, handful. He goes, if you don't got billions and billions of dollars in the bank and you're not controlling public policy, then you're mad at the wrong people. It's the people who are making, like, for instance, if you went to Queen Elizabeth's house, when you get up in the morning, it's not black people making her bed for her, making her food for her, changing her clothes, getting her out. It'll be all white people. But her bloodline, just because you're born in her bloodline, you automatically get this life. You're automatically inherited all this stuff. So it's not that they're white. It's just that they have this blood. Their blood is superior to yours. And he said, when you talk about the system, it's not, and we spend so much energy. I think it's a benefit to the people who are in power. It's a benefit to them that you got people who are really the same. Like, you got white people, black people, you got them arguing with each other, not realizing that you guys are making both our lives. Because I was shocked when I was studying economics, and I realized more white people were on welfare than black people. My boy Sharik, with the Greenhouse podcast, he said he went to go volunteer in poor neighborhoods. He couldn't believe that when he went to these poor white neighborhoods, they were living way worse than he was living with people in Patterson. He said he couldn't believe it, that they were living in such impoverished neighborhoods. And that's why someone like Trump was able to grab the White House, because they said that he was the first person who spoke to them, because they felt like they were hidden in society this whole time, because they hear people say white supremacy, white people got it so good, and they're like scratching their heads like, what are you talking about? I'm struggling. I'm on welfare. Like, I don't get no, like, so I think that when we talk about these things, you know, it's great to generalize, because I generalize a lot when I have conversations. But I think with certain things, it's like, yo, we're mad at this, but it's like they don't even have any power. Like, they don't do anything. Like, they were just, you know, what are they really doing?
Yeah. And to go back to what I said too, I said, I can go out and we can coexist. I can go on my I have white friends. I work with white people. Like, I don't have no problem with that. When I say I'm talking about people with actual, like I said, can actually affect minorities or can put things into place or can
they have influence
to really, you know, what we would say suppress these people. Like, so I definitely agree with you in what you're saying. Like, I'm not mad at the average Joe Schmo. If I go outside, I'm gonna be respectful. Like, you see me, I see you. What's up? But like, you know, as far as when it comes to politics, or as far as when it comes to people running for school boards and things like that, that's things that I'm more cautious about, because I feel like those can impact our future and can have things like, you know, that can mold certain things in the future for us and for future kids and things like that.
Not for I would say politicians and stuff are very, like, there's people in power are very corrupt.
Yeah,
not
OD.
all of them, but there's
It's
people
not
who are.
technically the people in, but like the school board people, they are pennies. The most of the governors, pennies. It's the lobbyists, the people that are funding their candidacies, the people that are buying their homes, people that are buying, you know, when the president is not a president anymore, he lives in a home funded by the state.
Yeah, I think
he now has his bills funded by the state. It's these people, the people that are funding. Those are the.
I think a real impactful law for someone to pass would be to get money out of politics.
Right.
Like, stop making it so that if I'm a healthcare company, I can go lobby and
that
spend
is the power currently.
$2 million to get what I want passed, because you're just lobbying now. You're not let the people, the republic, vote what they think is best. You know, or vote for someone who represents them, and let that person who's representing them have a unbiased,
it becomes,
no money included opinion.
It becomes like a pay to win type of thing.
And that's what it is right now.
You should, if we're appointing our leaders and the people that represent us, and they're supposed to speak for us, and we're supposed to believe in what they do, right? How can we do that now if they're, basically they're the way they view the world can be skewed just depending on whatever it is that's getting funded for them, whether it be their campaign or whatever new upstart they're trying to do, whatever the case may be. It's like, bro, like that shit is.
Do you know two of the top 5 or at least 2 of the top 10 companies that Congress has invested in? I might have told you guys maybe last episode or something.
What, the pharmaceuticals?
Yeah.
Pfizer and
Pfizer and J&J.
Yeah.
Those. So you're trying to tell me if you guys have all this money in these companies, you have an unbiased
never in a million years.
Come on, bro. I
Just
can't.
human nature. Never in a million years.
Conflict of interest. When I was an auditor, I couldn't even invest in companies we audited. You trying to tell me as Congress you can? Like, doesn't make any sense.
That's what an NFL player just said that last week. He said, if as an NFL player, I'm not allowed to bet on the game that I'm playing in. He said, why should Congress and these people be able to vote on things that their dollars are being
Yes, it doesn't make any sense, bro. And
because if you tell me I'm gonna win $2 million if we lose, I'm gonna start playing, I'm gonna pull a hammy. My shit. So no. But to move on from this, very well put together discussion we just had. Love everybody, people. Right?
Kick rocks, Congress.
Yeah. But
fuck the state.
Moving on.
This was interesting to me. So he put out a video of him reacting to an article, and the article was written by either a Spanish or a white lady, but she was talking about black women. So she was saying that in her article, and it was on the Psychology Today, so credible source. But she was basically saying in the article that she interviewed, not even a good. If you're gonna do a statistic study, 30 people is not enough people, in my opinion. But she interviewed 30 people and was making a whole statement about black women in general.
Not a generalization.
Yeah, so she was saying that.
Of 30 people.
Right?
That's crazy.
Like, not even
she was saying that black women black women are like, we know like the statistic, black women are the most single group of people, demographic of people. And she was saying it's not because black men are going to jail. It's not because black women are more educated than black men. It's because black women are choosing to be single. And then just like went on this whole raid about what these black women were saying, like why it's better for black women to be single than be.
Or you might have just met 30 women that chose to be single.
But this is in the conversation I was saying. This is what the problem is, though. It's like, okay, now you post this on the Psychology Now, credible source. Black women are choosing to be single because of the benefits and stuff. Now other people go read it and go source it and go now that's what gets pushed out into the black community. And maybe us, we're like 30 people. That's not enough people to survey. Like, but how many people are like, yep, right? And it's like you start
Fuck
pushing,
that nigga.
right? But it's like, how could a psychology newspaper let that slide?
Nah, that is max. But once again, if that's what they're looking to find, they're gonna find it.
Yeah.
They're gonna find
that's
it.
very true.
The
And-
thing about that though is, no, go ahead. You continue.
Nah, I was gonna talk about my gripe with Kevin Samuels. But
Do you not have a case
I
on
was
your
gonna
phone?
say the thing
No, I
about
Are you mad?
reading that
It
off
broke
of
last
like
week. I think a new one.
the internet. Just because I know how journalism works now,
Exactly.
doesn't matter if it's credible or not. I know how it works now. They are looking for page views. They want clicks. They want clickbait. So even if she lied and there was no study,
Yeah.
they don't care. They're gonna push it out.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Got the ad revenue.
Yeah,
It's-
they don't
it's-
care.
Bro, that's why I don't remember the last, like, and I'm trying to do it too with videos now, because I got mad. They caught me with the Kanye West video where Kanye West was saying, like, fuck Big Sean. And when I went and actually watched the interview, at first I was like, how could he say that? Like, that's my boy.
Nah, it was still stupid.
And then after I watched the interview, I was like, oh, I understand why he said it. Like, it's not a big deal. But just based off the 2-minute video, that got me, like, riled up. So I've been saying, like, yo, I know not to do with articles. I've been doing not to do with articles. I'm not doing it with no more videos. If you send me, like the one with Brittany Reiner, I was like, I got to watch the whole thing.
Facebook is good for
Because
that.
I would love to see how it really went because, yo, they have, like, agendas, bro. All you got to do is chop up a 2-minute video,
Yes.
put a catchy caption on it,
Nice clickbait.
and whatever you want someone to believe, they're going to believe.
To redact the statement, it's not a public thing. All you have to do is send it to the person.
What do you mean?
That's it. Like, if I make a public thing about Jace Cruz, right? And I'm like, oh, he's this and he's that. And he's like, now, if it turns out to be wrong, all I have to do is say, oh, I'm sorry. I saw it at this and I thought that was a credible source. And I can send him a message apologizing and I can take down the article. But I don't have to do it publicly.
So there's no public retraction.
So no,
That's what it's called, public retraction?
that's why it's. I think I spoke about this before, but one of my professors, she was a news reporter, and she said there's a type of news that it's like there's fast news, like they're not looking to be right, they're just looking to be first. Because if they
That's
report,
all news now. It's the crazy part.
if they report on something and it ends up being true, or whatever, all they have to do is say, oh, it was an early development where we apologize, send out a private message, but they still got all the clicks, they still got all the subscriptions, whatever that people clicked on to finish reading whatever the article was. So that shit doesn't really matter.
And
but my issue with Kevin Samuels is
Gabby.
his thoughts now for me, because I've been pretty much tuned into him since the beginning, and I see like the growth of his page and everything. I feel like his thoughts now, before I was like, all right, I would see, I'm like, all right, this is an ugly truth he's giving out, all right? And this is something that people might not want to hear, but it is true. Now I feel like his videos are like a needle in a haystack. I might see one thing, I'm like, I could apply that to myself. But then there's all these little,
questionable.
little questionable content. It's like,
I could say for me personally, I have never watched a Kevin Samuel video that I didn't at the end of it. Not that I agreed with everything that was said. That after watching the video, I did not take away something valuable that I could then go research and get some information from, or immediately apply to my life and be like, my life just got better. And I've watched.
Are we talking about the same Kevin Samuels?
Yeah.
with the,
But you gotta. But
Okay.
I think the trouble is, I think two things. You gotta and I know 95% of people are gonna do this. You gotta watch the whole. You gotta watch the whole 2-hour video. If you don't, then I would say don't speak on it. But society's gonna do that anyway. But I'm not done. So you gotta watch. You gotta watch the whole 2-hour
he
video.
gonna defend his man.
No, I'm not defending him. This is something I learned from the personality course. So part of the personality, one of the personalities is agreeableness. But they said agreeableness is a biased word. They just couldn't find a better word to do it. And what describes agreeableness is politeness, which they
Right.
said they just couldn't find a better word. And then assertiveness. Me, I rank really high in assertiveness, but I'm really low in politeness. So I don't have to be. Yeah. No, seriously though. And the way to describe politeness is how straightforward someone talks.
Do you think that's cultural? My father is Jamaican.
He's that way too?
Yes.
So I don't know, maybe. I know my parents are extremely straightforward.
Yes.
So, but certain not, and I realized from taking the course, I used to think, and it says it too, I would think that because you could be straightforward. I mean, like, if someone came to me and was like, yo, Christian, you know, you're kind of ugly, bro. Like, it's all good, but you're just not attractive for human being. I wouldn't be offended. I would be like, maybe you're right, you know?
But that's a cultural thing.
Yeah, maybe it is. And what I realize is not everyone's that way. I think that
agree.
people were soft. But I would say now, Kevin Samuel's videos are not for you if you're someone who is like that way. Like, you're not, like, things have to be, like, you guys saw the movie Look Up? Yeah, You ever seen the Look Up?
Yeah.
You know, at the end when he has his flip out and he's like, not everything has to be so clever.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people who can't take information that way, because, like, being politically right, you want things to be politically right, you want things not to offend you.
I don't care about being offended.
Yeah.
Constructive
Right?
criticism isn't something you like.
And it's not about the criticism.
Yeah.
Just sometimes he just says things that aren't
You
true.
can criticize me and I could take it to the chin, or I could say, you don't know what you're talking about. But you cannot overgeneralize while criticizing, while also feeling your ego, while also believing that you are some kind of like all conscious being, all in one. All of those things, they just don't mesh well. You
Yeah,
had to
and-
pick one, and then we'll work with the others.
Yeah, I don't even see him as, so, like, I watch a lot of his videos. He's always someone who's like, he talks about his flaws, talks about his weaknesses. So I don't see him as like this person who thinks he's always all conscious.
No,
right.
you can talk about
What
your
I like-
flaws.
What I like is the stats and statistics. You guys know me.
Right.
Yeah.
If you give me a stat and statistic that I can go research or really like think about and go back and forth on, that's what I like. That's what I like. So, for instance, he'll say something, and I think generalizations are helpful if you use them correctly. One, generalizations, you have to understand it's 51% or more. So, exclusion is never the rule. You can find, I think a lot of things are normally distributed. You can find any type of given situation. It might not relate to you, but when you think about generalizations, you're thinking about, okay, I'm thinking, how does this apply to the 300 million people in America? So if it's 51%, if it helps 51% of 300 million, okay, this might be something that's helpful. The other 49% or the other 40 or 30 who doesn't apply to, just ignore it. But people also don't like that very much either. Why are you generalizing? Well, it's generalized because it's good. Generalization is useful in certain situations. And I like that he makes that very explicitly clear. This is a generalization. It might not relate to you. And also, I realized too, his content isn't for everybody. You know, he's very businessman-like. He has a market segmentation where he's like, my content is only for this demographic of people. If you don't fit in this demographic of people, please don't watch the show.
Yeah.
And he'll tell them that. He'll literally tell someone, this show's not for you. You shouldn't be watching it. Like, hey, man, you feel this way, but I don't think my show's for you. Go watch another show.
But now when you start doing stuff like that, which is another thing that I low-key have an issue with, I can now tell, like we said, we can choose what is right depending on who's funding it. Now, if I'm telling my viewers the show's for this type of people, this demographic of people is going to think I'm right because they can stomach what I'm saying.
I agree.
I shouldn't be able to tell people, oh,
Be
this content's
tailored
not,
to one
just because you
group.
disagree, my content's not for you.
No, it's not that. Not that you disagree. It's hard. Like
He's,
he says, he
he's
makes his,
tailor making his
But
content
he is
for a group.
Yeah.
So no, he says I make my content for men who see themselves as one day having a really big network.
Tailor made.
Yeah, but it's not that. So some people, like, if I'm with a person like, man, I don't want to make $400,000. Like,
You still might tune in just to see what the
you might tune in.
$400,000 makers
you
want to
might
hear.
tune in, but he's gonna tell you if you don't want to make a certain amount of money, you're doing. The advice I give you.
Does that not seem a little like
Yeah.
I'm forcing you a little bit? Like,
No, because I
Not
guess
forcing,
I guess
but
because
a little-
I have a lot of coaches and like mentors in life, and they'll
Right.
tell me the same thing. They'll be like, I'm gonna give you advice based on the assumption that this is what the outcome you want. But if you don't want this outcome, don't take this advice.
But
no, that's two different things than what you just said.
But
So-
that's what he does.
No.
He'll tell
No.
them.
My
not all
mentor
the
will
time.
say, hey, this week, if you want to put out your book and you want to do what you have to do,
Yeah.
I want you to do this, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. And then they'll say, if you don't do it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Right? Kevin Samuels he'll say this content for this week or this episode is geared towards this person. If you are not that person, you don't have to listen, turn away, watch something else.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's two different things.
But to me, that still makes sense now because if I'm saying this content is for a person who's making $50,000 who wants to learn how to make $150,000, if you don't fit into that group, then this content's not for you. To me, that I'm okay with.
What
that.
if you
I'm
were
okay
a
with that.
person that had $50,000, but now you're making $200,000, and you watch the content, and you're just like, that's not true.
Wait, what do you mean?
I could have been in that demographic
Yeah.
before, and like you're saying, it's content for 50 people that make $50,000
Yeah.
and want to make over 100, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I was a person that made $50,000,
Yeah.
right, and now I'm going and looking at what you're telling other people that was in my position,
Yeah.
and you're kind of speaking from a general standpoint,
Okay,
right?
I know. Yeah.
It's like, all right, nah, like that's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
because
but-
I was in that position and I can speak from
And-
that.
and
And I feel like, hold up, I feel like sometimes that's what he does. He'll say certain things. Like there was one episode where he made like he was talking to somebody. He made like a really good point with the lady. She was expressing the fact that, she was like, oh, I was open with my husband. I told him like, I understand that, he has to travel a lot. He's a high-earning man, all of those stuff. So when he brought up the fact that he had a mistress to her, she was willing to work with it. And he said, like, he's like, you're on a small demographic of women because most women wouldn't be willing to work with that. And she still, her husband still told her, like, I don't want to be with you. So he said, like, that's not your fault. The relationship just run its course. And in the same way he'll tell somebody that, he'll go and tell a girl that, oh, if you're 5'5", you shouldn't be looking at dudes taller than 5'8". Because you're average height for a woman, so you should be looking for an average height man. When I know from being on athletic teams, and I've been on teams where the average height is higher than 6'4", those dudes like small women.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to like I think that's important when you're generalizing. It's only 51%, like something like that, like height, like who cares? Like I'm thinking when he says something like, all right, if you're say you're just an average person, and I was talking to someone the other day, and they told me that no one's average. That made me laugh a little bit. I love it. Me and him we had a great conversation. He listens to the show a lot, so I told him I want to have him on the show and us have the same argument because it was just a very beautiful conversation. We didn't agree at all, but he was telling me that no one's average. That I was like, what do you mean no one's average?
It has to be average. It's mathematically impossible.
Yeah, but we know that. We know there's average. So if you're an average person, right? I think the concept of you're an average person, then why would you not be happy marrying or being with someone who's average?
But why would you? Just the human concept. Why would I marry someone average?
But that goes
even
back
if
to,
I know that I'm average, I'm
Yeah.
gonna shoot for someone that is
and that
more,
goes,
more
and
average.
I think this is 100% correlated with this in the same sense of that racist conversation we had. Even though it might be our human nature to be like, I'm average. Why do I have to? You have to negate that because you have to be realistic with yourself. If you're someone who's average around the board, the chances of someone who's not average picking you is very low because they can go pick someone who's not average.
that cannot be generalized.
So why would they pick
But
you?
At all.
even if you use his scale, that's still wrong in his scale.
Why?
Because he'll be like, oh, men that make a lot of money, they don't care what a woman's doing. They don't want your money. They don't care about the education
That's
you have.
cap. And
So
it'd be
they'll
average
go
men
for
with
average
money
women.
going not for the
They'll-
average woman, the woman with the big butt, because they know
But-
she's only coming for the money.
Yes, but that's where it's important. So to men, what men and women and men are very different. So what men use to rank order women is different than what women use to high rank men. So for
But
instance,
he doesn't say any of that.
Yes, he does.
You know,
he has.
he
two-
does
has-
not spell it out like
Yes, he
that.
does.
You
He
have
has-
to on
Some-
your own.
no,
go
no,
home.
he
Yes,
does sometimes.
yes.
He
You
does
got to go.
sometimes.
You got to go find the video though. He has like a 2-hour video describing all these things but he's the type of person, and this is where like the politeness come in. Instead of explaining it to you, he'll be like, go back and watch my old show. He's one of those, and that's where sometimes I'm like, you could be a little bit nicer, bro. Like, just explain it to her real quick. It'll take you 30 seconds. He'll be like, go watch the old show. You know.
I feel like now his stuff's starting to get a little lopsided. Before, and I do feel like he's starting to become more opinionated now too. And it's like, we can get into what sparked the whole conversation. The whole, you going. He made a statement. He said, if you're a woman and you don't want sex to be on a table, you shouldn't arrange for dates to be after 5 p.m. And that to me was just
That's shot out.
That was
That's
nuts.
insane.
That's a little crazy.
and that's like
Yeah.
So that's
that's
something like your grandpa would say.
yeah,
some shit
that's some
like
old school shit. And
before women ever worked like that.
word,
Yeah.
and like there's sometimes he'll just say
that. Something my
things,
grandma would say.
and I'll just
something
be like,
that.
just because it's not true to you doesn't mean it's not true at all. People like, oh, no successful guys want some overweight woman and this is.
And that's
but
where-
there's
and
men
that's
out
where-
there that
That
like
like
women
thick
of that
women.
demographic.
And that's
And
where
wait, even if
Yeah.
even if you're gonna talk about the general group,
Yeah, it's a general
you
group,
can't
bro.
say no. I can't say that there's no men that
can
don't like their women
say
because I don't know all
that
the men to know them.
majority
I think
like,
something-
and then there's the minority that.
But then that's the
likes.
thing when you're generalizing, like those assumptions, like when you're having a general conversation, it's agreed upon that those assumptions are already played. Like if I'm generalizing with you, I don't have to explain to you that there's an exception to the rule.
Agreed, but
You know
he
what
is
I mean?
not having
But
a general
he
conversation.
No,
is.
no, no, no,
He's
no,
speaking
no,
to the
no, no, no,
masses.
no, no.
Yes,
Well,
he
that-
does.
oh, wait.
Wait.
We're not gonna do that because
He's speaking to the
he'll
masses,
speak.
and he
He'll
knows
speak
it.
to people,
Yeah.
and I understand. Like I said, I understand that's
Yeah.
your man's. But
No, it's not even
he'll
about that.
speak to people
Yeah.
with like if you say that generally, right?
Yeah.
And he says that to somebody, and they'll combat with something that's general.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Well, what's the percentage of people that do that?"
But that's the thing.
But that's not a
important.
general conversation. If
Yes,
you're
it
getting to,
is.
no, it's not. You're
Asante,
getting to
that's-
percentages.
No, that's what a generalization is. It has to be over 51%.
So earlier we talked about pizza,
Has to be.
right?
Yeah.
And you said this pizza spot, right?
Best in the world,
Best in the world.
hands down.
That is the general. We were having a
no,
general
that's still
conversation.
talking shit.
Right. Nonetheless, though, it's an example. There's no way you could bring, well, there is, but you cannot
Yeah.
bring any facts to say,
Yeah, of course not.
out of
Like-
all the pizza
And is
in
Santoni's
Jersey.
actually the best pizza?
He'll
No.
have a
That's just me talking
general
shit. you know?
That's what I'm
conversation
saying,
with
but he
somebody,
hasn't.
and then getting to
But
specifics.
then he
Right.
so
How does that happen?
So-
if we're generalizing, we're generalizing. Don't generalize your statement, and then when I
But
make
you
a statement,
use-
you want to get into the specifics
but you
of
use
the
spe-
demographic.
but
That
you
doesn't make any
use-
sense.
But you use specifics to get to the generalization.
No, how does that make any sense?
So it's like this. I can only know what group or demographic you fall into by first asking personal questions that would then allow me to group the demographic you fit in, which that I could then create a probability of what outcome you could expect.
Yeah, but someone, like I said, someone will make a statement,
I like that.
and he'll get into the specifics of their statement,
Yeah.
not if they fall within that statement.
Yeah.
He'll get into the specifics of their statement based on something that was general that he said. How does that make sense? You're literally going from broad to microscopic to broad to microscopic.
Yeah, so there's in the book Principles by Ray Dalio.
We talk about Kevin said.
No, hold on. I'm going to explain to you. So when you're having a conversation, you say you're at, so it's like a level 1, and then 2 would be more detailed, 3 would be more detailed, 4 would be more detailed, 5 would be the deepest detail. If you're having a conversation, you're allowed to, for argument base, like you say you're trying to win an argument, to go into the depths of the detail. As long as you then come back up to the generalization, it still creates a logical argument. But only problem is with logical. if you-
Logical argument, but
Yeah.
is it a true argument?
Well, if you're having a logical argument, like you went back to half truths. I think that's what people. I would love for someone to get on the call, and they always get too emotional. But instead of thinking, get on the call with better facts and statistics to then prove why your point is more valid than his. I'm waiting for. I wait until it shows. People get too emotional. They start yelling. They start.
Because he be coming for the jugular every
Yeah,
time.
but you gotta.
You
But
do.
then that's the
He be
thing.
like, well, you're wig. And
You
I
gotta-
just,
you gotta
now I'm coming for you.
No, and that's the, and I think that's the thing too. Are you a big watcher of his shows?
No, not
So
anymore.
that's where you got to be careful of. So the
Right.
only ones that get clipped are the ones he argues.
No, I don't watch the clips though. I don't watch like
Oh,
what
so,
goes
like,
viral.
say-
I'll actually go to it and
Yeah.
try and watch the
so
whole.
like he'll have
spiel.
7 callers, 6 will be peaceful, 1 caller will come in with the hotness.
And that's the
Yeah.
clip
he
that'll
matches,
go
he
crazy.
matches energy though. So
Right.
you are the type of person who's gonna give him attitude. He's not the agreeable to want to be like, all right, you give me attitude, man. Have a nice day. I'll talk to you later. He's gonna be like, yada yada yada.
Nah,
you
he's
know.
gonna turn up.
He gonna
But
turn up.
Just my issue with him is that it's like, bro, and then it's getting into like now with this. It's a running joke now where all these people have podcasts where they talk about how they're alpha male and this and that and all this stuff. It's like, all right,
Bullshit.
you're getting now into this space to where you're kind of trying to create a person that not necessarily wants to be created. Like you can't tell me, oh, these are alpha male features, right? And these are what alpha males do. And now, if I don't do that, I'm not an alpha male. But there's different types of alpha male. There might be vocal leaders. There might be people that lead by doing. There might be people that lead by helping out other leaders. But they're still generally leaders. And
Yeah, I think even if you take away the word alpha male and like maybe throw a synonym on it and be like the leaders of the group, I still think that if there's a generalizedness of it, back to generalizations, there are similarities between leaders, because what we also fall into society is, and I think young people do it the most, when things just sound good, they just want to throw themselves like, I'm a leader. No, you're not. You know what being a leader is? No one's even following you. How could you be a leader?
Generalizations also sound good,
Yeah.
which is why most of
But
the time
they only
they're
sound good
just
if they're true.
not true. There are a
Yeah.
lot of generalizations that
Yeah.
do not sound good and are not true, or they do sound good and they're not true.
Yeah. So then,
know?
but then sound good. Maybe then you should always check them. Let's say that you should always check. Like the things he says. Like when someone's with like a generalization would be that to me it's truth. If someone came to me and was like, well, women end marriages are usually ended. Or marriages are ended by women, and then someone could be like, how could you say that? Well, out of the 60% of divorces that happen in marriages, 80% of them are filed by women. So for someone to be like, well, women end up usually are the ones who file for divorce, and that's a generalization, but it's 80%,
And
so
now-
it's true.
Even with that generalization, like we could
Yeah.
talk about that specifically, right?
Yeah.
Someone made a counterpoint to him one, like, but you have to look at why these women are leaving relationships,
Right,
right?
very important.
And he's like, no, it's the fact of the matter that men access marriage and that it's like, bro, but if I'm a woman,
Yeah.
right, and I'm in a marriage and this nigga's beating my ass,
Beating, cheating, not enough
cheating,
time.
doing all this other shit, right? You're gonna tell me now if I leave this marriage, I'm the one that's a homewrecker and I broke up. Like, bro,
Yeah.
what? I'm
That's
living in
not
a broken home already.
And I
How did I
think-
wreck a home? That's not a
And
home.
I think that's important too with generalizations is with because that's not common.
Chris, what?
It's not common.
What?
What's not common?
So, for instance, men and women cheat about it at the same rates in relationships. That's also proven already.
So
And
the thing about
We just gotta
you know,
disagree.
I
mean,
took
just get the numbers.
psychology statistics 3
Yeah.
times. The first 2 times I failed because I could not understand the concept of just the numbers and trying to correlate it with what the numbers mean.
Okay. You
Right?
guys would do like the
the
whole mathematical.
In my
problem,
third time in taking it, I finally realized that there are generalizations, right? We have averages. We have, like, after you do a study, the whole point is when you do a study, you want to have numbers out there to back
Yeah.
what you said. That's the whole point of taking the class.
Yeah.
So what I've realized is after the experiment, we get our numbers. Even if the numbers do say that the majority of people would rather red shoes than black shoes, right? No one ever says, well, how many numbers were in the study or where was the study based at, right? So it's only
You guys didn't do
in
that?
Asia. No, I'm saying generally, just when you read a study, if you
we had
read
to
an
do that.
article.
I
No,
took-
in class, yeah.
Oh, that's
but
a-
after you leave class, like the average person is not going to say,
The average
let me
person,
go
that's the
and
danger.
look
Yeah.
at, it's just Asia that likes red and black shoes. But
That's-
in Africa, they only
And
have purple and yellow.
That's
Even
why,
with-
like,
even with
I
the-
took econometrics, which is
Right.
basically the same thing, and I was so thankful for that class because I learned how to do that.
But that's my point with
Yeah.
him. We don't ever get to it's okay to make generalizations. It's okay to use
Yeah.
statistics, but it's not okay to use statistics and make these claims for people you expect them to believe it after they leave your show without
Exactly.
backing and saying
Yeah.
this data was taken from yada yada. This data reflects
Yeah.
yada yada. You never say that. You just say
And if-
51% of
So
men
and remember I
like
s-
females with blonde hair.
I remember I
You should
said
never-
that's why I like his stuff so much,
Right.
Because he does. Like, for instance, I found this article from him. I found about the Monahan report from him. I found about the CDC.
But you went back and you searched
No, but
it.
he told me where to get it from.
Where to get it from. He didn't
Yeah.
say
Nah,
the
he-
rest of the spill.
he
He,
does-
just said,
Yeah,
hey,
he does source himself is what I'm saying. And you gotta be same thing with as I guess a good not a good person, but I think a good skill for people to learn.
right.
If you're given a source,
Go
check
back,
it.
right.
Yeah.
Go check it.
The average person is not going
he
to.
he,
Hell
will-
no,
he
they're
will
not doing that.
he will do that, and like let's say if it's something like what you just said with the marriage,
Right.
and he can say, oh well, that's not a case in most marriage, and then there'll be a whole nother study that will say most women that are in marriages that experience abuse don't report it. So
Right.
you can't make a general statement for something that's not being reported, and then because it's not being reported,
Exactly.
it's fudging your numbers.
Exactly.
That
I
doesn't
agree
make any
with that.
sense to me.
Exactly. I agree with
So
that.
it's like that's what I'm saying is you're using specific points to back your argument, but there's always other points to counterpoint it. And then when those points get made up, he'll go back to the study. But it's like if this shit's not being reported,
in
that doesn't
philosophy,
mean it's not
that
being a
just
thing.
means that when in philosophy, the basis is if you're making a claim and there's other claims to counteract your claim is false. Period. If your claim A and there's a claim B and a claim C that prove that claim A is false, everything is false.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah.
Yeah. So
he's a cool dude, but
Yeah,
and
like I said,
conversation
I don't
be
think
throwing
I don't
me
think
off.
all of his content
Right,
is,
not
is
all of
bad,
it. That's a bad
but I
generalization.
do think you have to be careful when you're listening to certain things, and when people can obviously throw numbers at you and make things sound good.
Yeah.
But if these things aren't specific, or if they're not conducive to what's actually going on in the world, then that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to live your life based on this. I shouldn't make a certain amount of money and be like, well, because I'm a top percent man and because I have options, I'm going to treat my woman a certain way. That doesn't come with it.
Yeah, I think
it's if I make a certain amount of money, I can be a LeBron James or I can be a Tristan Thompson. It's based on my own personal beliefs. So these things aren't pre-packaged with this amount of money that I need to be making.
Yeah,
I think LeBron James is not cheating.
No, I don't think he is.
Come on, that's another conspiracy.
He's
Throw that in the hat.
He's a 6'8" nigga.
Throw it in the hat.
He's very
NDAs,
visible
NDAs.
wherever he goes.
I hate to say it, bro.
Fuck out of here.
NDA.
I think
Y'all
his,
niggas bugging the fuck out.
no, I don't think LeBron cheats at all.
What?
Not
I think
LeBron.
Obama cheats. I think LeBron cheats. Well, of course,
There's
Kanye
no
cheats.
proof.
There's no proof because
No.
NDAs, they have great lawyer. LeBron has a superb lawyer.
And I think
What
We
even-
have not
what
seen
even
a traffic
funds- What
ticket.
even funds
Yeah,
that
it's
thought?
not
LeBron
Let me tell you,
James
in America,
LeBron got damage control, not even lawyer.
I'm saying,
That's not,
he got a whole, he has a whole office just prepped and ready.
I think-
He definitely doing like
Oh,
the
that's
Jared
fair.
I'm
Stevens thing, where
saying.
he sends them like a gift basket.
I'm
the next
sure he
day,
does.
Where they just want to stay quiet.
type
sure.
shit. Like
And
I'm
you know
fucking
who- I
LeBron
think-
James.
I think his wife is running that office that does damage control. I
And-
believe
and-
that.
and
I believe
think
that.
Santi,
I
I think
believe
this goes
that.
back to what you said before,
respect
and we
that.
saw what we
I
just
believe
did.
that.
Me
For
too.
not letting it get out.
Yeah, he
I believe
respects his wife.
Yeah.
What
He's-
is LeBron
No, not
James?
respect his wife. He respects the life and the influence that he has, right?
You don't
The
think-
second that is something dirty that leaks out, LeBron, the King James, that's is a wrap.
So, and like you saw what we
It's a
just did
wrap.
just with that, what you just said. I think doing that is so dangerous.
It is, but we're
Because
just talking.
There's no like, but that's what,
100%.
It is
that's
dangerous.
that's the same thing we just did.
If
with
he listens to
other
the podcast,
example.
that's it.
If we, you know,
That's it for
if
the
we try
podcast.
to go off of information that's like it's dangerous because it's just not there. You're people. I think so. People are so quick to like assume and like make or not the LeBron. I think we do this as humans just so much, and it's so dangerous. You know what I mean? Because at what point can we say, all right, we got to go off of what's there? You know.
No, I believe that. I just think that we have to, like I said, your world isn't everybody else's world, and everybody else's world isn't
Agreed.
your world.
Oh
right?
my God, I had this
So
the same
for-
conversation.
For that being said, you can't say like, oh, every guy does this, or like maybe you just met bad guys.
Right.
Maybe there's a
Same
girl out there
shit
that has
with
a
hoes and
track record
tricks.
of straight sweethearts, and she'll have a different point of view. And there's someone that experienced both that say no, it's balanced. So it's all your scope and your lens and how you look at the world. But people do find things, like we said, with the lobbyists, with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
People find things to back their argument, and if they find things to back the argument, it's gonna be
See.
deemed true, and people can also find counterpoints.
But
So
that's,
you have to be careful.
And
with
I
that.
think
agree.
as society though, and just it's not even just taking Kevin Samuels out of it. I think that maybe we should teach generalizations because I think we still have to be able to generalize. Because I can say, yo, lions are dangerous. You shouldn't go with them. Then someone could get evidence to back their point and say, well, actually, in Ethiopia, they tame and walk with lions. That is still does not mean lions are safe and you should be walking with them. Just because you can find a point that goes against what I'm saying. So I think teaching people like that, if something is 50%, 51% or more, you should be able to generalize and come to conclusions based on that. But understand that there's exceptions to the rule.
I think
and
it's
not
on experience.
so not thinking absolutely. No, because especially if you're under the age of 65, what is your experience? It's nothing. You've only been conscious for the past 12 years.
No, if you've never experienced a lion, then pretty much your point of view on the lion being dangerous or not isn't really valid. You never experienced it. That's what I'm saying.
But say now you've experienced a lion one time, and the one time you experienced a lion, it was safe.
Then you would say, through my experience, I was around a lion. It was pretty safe.
And that's why your experience is foolish.
No, it's
Because lions aren't safe to be around.
not. But that wouldn't necessarily be foolish. That would be your point of view of what
So-
you've
so
experienced.
now-
So why are
That
they
doesn't
not
mean you
safe to
should
be
take
around?
what I'm saying,
Because
don't you said, but absolute. You shouldn't take anything anyone's saying and just deem
Yeah.
it as absolute. Be like, yo, lions. I was around a lion. It was pretty safe, but lions can be dangerous. That's not going to be your experience. You shouldn't.
yeah.
Exactly. So,
So-
you shouldn't take that idea and go be like, oh, I'm gonna run as fast as I can at that line because such and such told me it's safe. Like, no, you should
But-
just fucking do
And
your own
that's-
research.
And you said you added that word should, but that's what people do. If you're not careful with what you say and what you generalize about, people are going, especially they see you as a credible source.
That's my thing with Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Because let's say I am a man at home
Yeah.
and I want to be this alpha male and I want for attractive women to like me. And I just watched this, whatever. And he told someone else, this is what you had to do. This is what you had to do. And now my whole life's purpose is to do exactly what he said. I don't get to that point. My ego, my confidence is shot.
Yeah.
That affects my whole psyche.
But I think also as a content creator, like even us as a
Right.
content creator, you can only tell people so much.
Agreed.
And then at their point, they're going to do what you want. Like if Kevin Samuels says, hey, I love average men. You know, I was raised by average men, but I'm sorry, this content doesn't really relate to the average man. I make content for my clients. And I'm the client to top C-suite executives. I'm the client to entrepreneurs. My clients are, you know, the top 5% of income earners. I make content for them. Now, me, as someone who doesn't make that, if I still come in and hear what you're saying and think what you're saying applies to me, at what point can we say, all right, it's not the guy making the content, it's the person, it's the listener of the content who then doesn't even understand how to take information and apply it in their life correctly. That's a you thing, almost, you know.
Kevy, stirring up the pot.
All right, so this week's song of the week, my boy, you feel me, my fam right here, my boy Drew, aka Concep. He got his new single. It's called Answers. Very vibey. He has it out on all platforms, so go listen to that.
I need a man check. That's why I swear I never fold. Just pay me ransom. Don't got a mouth full of gold. I'm so handsome. And she's a stripper on that pole. She's a dancer, but she can never tell me no. Said I'm so pampered. I've been out here on the road. I've been away. Said you be blowing up my phone. You feel away. Said I be fucking on these bitches every day. But when I show you all this bread, you'll be okay. Don't worry, baby, I'll be home by 8. Said I'll be taking all these chances, ain't no breaks, yeah. Say you the only one, can fuck with face. So what I say, I've been traveling down this road, I need some answers. When you're dialing up my phone, girl, I don't answer. I done smoked the ball and stuck on my head cancer. Think I got too many hoes, but I won't answer. I've been traveling down this road, I need some answers. And when you're dialing up my phone, girl, I don't answer. I done smoked the ball, this dope, I might have cancer. Think I got too many hoes, bitch, cause I don't answer. All my life I was saying that's the problem. Bitch, that's the holding on to your promise, hey. The feelings that we had lost, cause this was a cycle, yeah. Should've known you psycho, yeah. Gas you up like petrol, yeah. Taking sideways, no metro, yeah. Now you don't wanna let go, yeah. I'm a real nigga, can't fuck with the face. Smoke that I'm blowing, come straight from the vein. On my time, ain't got none to waste. Been eating good, had to fill my plate. Quarantine fiend, gotta watch my ways. I'm a true player, check my stats. I say the bitch, you want 6 figures. I'm a real nigga, ain't got no feelings. C-O-N-S-C-E-P. Concep, oh yeah, that's me. Yelling from the 973. Jersey, yeah, that's where I'm from. Patterson raised me, don't be down. This music's just starting to get too far, yeah. Add it up, songs, yeah. Swear ball man jeans to the triplet chick. Fuck a man bitch to the gas my whip. All my life I knew I'm shit. Now I'm the shit and ain't want some flicks. And you don't know me, get off my dick, bitch. Get off my dick, bitch. Yo, pretty crazy for this one. Hey.
Yeah, so that was the song of the week by Concep. Go get that. Okay, so this segment, we getting to know our guests a little bit more. You feel me? We want you to tell the people who you are, you know, some of the things you do and stuff like that. So
I do a lot, so that's gonna be a pretty long segment there. Yeah, so I'm Mo. I recently officially embarked on my entrepreneurial journey. So prior, you know, I studied psych in undergrad. My current graduate course is counseling psych. And now I dibble and dabble. So I have my one business, Speedy Service and Co. And it's all things business, establishment, funding, even the small stuff like writing out like letters or writing out contracts, stuff like that. And then my nonprofits, the one is like just voting acknowledgement and education. So I'm 50-50. It's crazy because I have a nonprofit that's based on letting people know how to vote, when to vote, where to vote.
yeah,
And then my own personal belief is that, you know, my vote does count, you know, but it also sometimes is stomped on, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And then my other nonprofit, Sister Helping Sister, it's just Black women helping Black women. I've just now expanded it to all women helping all women. So early on, I was doing like give backs and like drives. I would like gather food and baby toys and stuff like that and give them out to, you know, like the women in the community that don't have it, or they have like newborns and they don't have a crib, or they don't have the toys, or whatever the case is. Yeah, a little spiel about me. I got my book coming out, y'all. Make sure y'all cop.
What's the book about?
It's about starting your business the right way. So a lot of small businesses right now, especially in our community, people just start businesses and then they don't know when the IRS comes knocking, or just city officials come knocking. They don't have the paperwork, so it gets shut down, or they find themselves in these holes where they can't find funding and they're coming out of pocket. You know, I see my own mom. She started a hair salon and she didn't know how to properly fund it, so she ended up working nights as a nurse. She was working like 12-hour shifts, got off work, went to open a shop, and just was running her life amok because she didn't know, like, this is what you had to do properly to do this. So the book is like a funding for dummies kind of thing, like starting your business and getting it the way it's supposed to be.
So have you always been kind of like the bet on yourself person?
I have, which is crazy because I'm saying officially now an entrepreneur, but since like third grade, remember third grade, they was giving us some schools, they was giving out chocolate to sell and fundraise. I would take the chocolate, you know, I think it was $1 a bar or something like that, sell them for $2.50, keep my profits, pay the school their money, and run it back up. So I always had that.
We got her. Move in.
I always had that. You have to go get it. Like I know I have to lay the groundwork. Whatever I want, I have to lay the groundwork to get it. Even though there are already algorithms out there, they're probably not geared towards me or what I need, or you know, someone else thought of that algorithm. That's for them. It worked for some people. Probably won't work for me. So.
Which I don't know is 1-800 call Mo. She really knows everything about everything.
I try.
Any kind of question, like anything business related, any paperwork you need done. She'd be like, "Oh, wait, give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna call you back." In 5 minutes, she will call you back with the paperwork you need and stuff. So, it's as your friend, it's super like sweet. It's like exciting to see you grow and embark on this new journey.
Thank you.
In your entrepreneurship, because it's really 1-800 call you.
I try. Don't everybody call me. But
No, that's always good to have a friend like that in your corner. The first business you said it's called Quick. What was
Speedy Service and Co.
Speedy Service and Co. So you help people, right?
Yeah.
Is your book almost like book form of what you do for that company?
Yeah. Okay. So instead of, she said call Mo. Instead of calling me, now you could just buy the book. Yeah. Every time you have a question, run to the book, page 1 or page 2. Or I could say, you have a question? Okay, yeah, it's on page whatever. It's on chapter whatever.
Okay. And like fellowship is, something that we always talk about. We get to come here, we get to talk about something every week, and, we can really lean on each other. So what was it that made you create something like Sister Helping Sister?
That's a good question. So the initial thought, I was a lot younger. I think I was in like second grade. I wanted to start a blog called Sister Talk to Sister. That's what I wanted. But I felt like it was just like what are we doing? We're just talking. We just, you know. So going into high school, like my senior year of high school, you know, just coming from a single parent home, even though my mom made things happen, you know, you still kind of see the back end of the struggle a little bit. It's not, we're not struggling and we're not just eating bread and butter, but we still have some side effects of struggle. So I could only imagine, you know, what other people right next to me or my neighbors are going through silently, that they either have, you know, too much ego to say, or there just aren't enough resources to hand it out to them. So that was the kind of afterthought. So now we're expanding. It's not just, I don't want to just stick to the urban, you know, I know there's a lot of struggle in just the urban communities, but I want it to be kind of a global thing. So it's any woman, no matter your color, you know, how old you are, if you have kids, you don't have kids, you have a struggle, you could come to the foundation and kind of have it resolved.
I love that.
So how'd you get into business after starting out first as like psychology?
So my initial thought was, you know, they have industrial psych. I wanted to do that. I didn't want to do like the whole corporate thing, like going in as like a corporate psychologist or just doing like paperwork. Really boring. I kind of just meshed my love for psychology and seeing my mom try to be this businesswoman, and I thought, I mean, she tried, she did what she could. I think I could do a little bit better.
So how did that manifest itself into business writing and not so much? Why didn't you go like the psych route with business? What brought it to that?
I don't know, to be honest. I enjoy it. That's the tedious stuff that people don't like to do, the sitting down and writing contracts. In college, actually, I started it as Speedy Paper Services. That's what it was. You called me and I got you with a paper. You called me at 12 at night and said, hey, my paper is due at 8 a.m. tomorrow. It's 5 pages. This is the topic. By 4:55, your paper's in your email. That's how I started it. I'm just good at writing. So I just figured, let's make it legit. It's not it is a real business, but it's still kind of shady to write people's papers. It's plagiarism. So.
I think that's like definition of taking something and making it into something bigger. And I think like we kind of often like lose track because we like get disappointed. There's so many different obstacles.
Definitely.
And we face different obstacles, and you kind of just steer clear of all of that.
You don't even steer. You don't steer clear. You just have to like keep going with it. Yeah. The toughest thing about like just trying to establish something yourself is one, the naysayers, which you had to kind of block out, and then it's people that just don't understand. You know, so they'll come at you with questions that are just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And then lastly, I always tell people you have to be kind of disciplined because there are days where you don't get any sales. There are months, you know, there are dry months. You just don't get any sales. You have to keep going. You can't just say, I quit. I'll go back to working at wherever I was working at before. And whenever sales pick up, I'll start back up. That's your downtime. That's now when I'm really focusing on the blueprint. When I don't have any customers, I have the time to get ready for the influx.
What do you do for customer acquisition?
Right now, so I'm working on email scraping. So I scrape a lot of emails. I do newsletters. I do newsletters for other companies too. So I focus on like just newsletters, outreach. Now I'm trying to get into the TikTok thing, throwing the tips on TikTok. People, ask questions. I'll be like, okay, book a consultation.
That'd be dope.
Things like that. So I'm just trying to find different ways that people aren't, like the things people aren't doing is what I want to do.
Do you use LinkedIn at all?
I do. That's been cool too. I don't really like their algorithm, but I have been using it.
It's so raw though. They kind of don't even have one. It's more so the first person that pop up. And people
That's
like
what I'm saying.
It just keeps popping up.
It keeps popping up, but then I don't know if these are like leads I should be focused on, or these are just things that picked up.
I know Gary Vee said it. He said right now, his 2 picks for like the most like social medias to be on for like what he said right now, LinkedIn was his pick for 2020, I think. And then he said Snapchat, I think, for 2021 or 2022. Yeah. But LinkedIn, I would tell you, there's not a lot of people making content on LinkedIn. So the people who do make content, you just see them over and over and over again. And I do see a lot of people like in that industry, consulting, business writing, like they use LinkedIn a lot. And I was just curious if you did.
I do. It's just the pings that they give me. I don't, I like to make sure that I'm spending my time on clients that are going to be worthwhile or even long term, as opposed to someone that's just asking questions and that's the last I hear from them.
Yeah. Something I always find interesting with people that are in the
Right.
business of helping other people. A lot of people that I do meet, you guys are, how do I put this in words? Like, you have a lot of patience, right? So
Not me.
how do you deal with customers and, like, you know, maybe dealing with people's like ideas and, you know, trying to get them on paper and trying to express to somebody, like, it may not necessarily work that way. Like, what does that process look like for you?
So a lot of businesses now are trying to run like their algorithms through automation. So I'm getting into that. So I don't have to. A lot of people have patience. I don't. I really try. I really do. It's something I'm working on. When it comes to like a customer that's coming and they have just this crazy idea, or they have an idea that they don't really understand themselves, I'm going to give them a spiel of questions, and from there going to construct their own ideas so I can help them. I can't help you if you don't even know like how to put together what you're trying to say. So I'm running through automation now, trying to see if I could build my own algorithm. So when someone has an inquiry, it's kind of just streamlined. And then I get this bottom ticket and we're running through that.
Yeah. FAQs, all that good stuff. Because it's like, people always have an idea, right?
Right.
And getting your, like, the idea is like the pregnancy, right?
Right.
And then you have to give birth to the actual thought. What people don't realize is that what you may have initially thought, like, it doesn't automatically, you know, compare to what, you know, the final product is going to look like, just because there's, like you said, paperwork you have to go through. There's laws and stuff that might prevent you from doing something. Like, I've met people that's like, oh yeah, I'm going to open up, you know, a hookah bar and then I'm going to have alcohol in it, but
Which
it's like,
is really hard to do,
no
especially
more
in Jersey.
alcohol license
That's
left.
really hard to do.
Yeah, you can't really. So it's like you always have to find a way to
Adapt a little bit.
Yeah, adapt, and with that adaptation comes, like, all right, how do I, you know, make this more of like something that I might have wanted originally? And I think that's important, because a lot of people, they get discouraged from, you know, like, oh, then I started taking the steps and I figured out that I can't do this because of this. But it's like, maybe that's not what it needed to be specifically. Maybe you needed to go along that journey to be like, all right, maybe this is, you know, I had to take some bones out, whatever, but this is what it looks like, and this is what's gonna work. And I
enjoy working with those clients though, because I feel like it's like a step by step. So now when it does come into fruition, it's like, damn, Mo was there the whole process. I seen it from thought to now you have a you know, a brick and mortar, or now you have this brand that's going crazy, you know, as opposed to somebody that had already started and now they need like help here, there, or there.
So do you do? So I think 95% of businesses fail like in the first 2 years. So do you do anything to help your clients not be part of that statistic, or is it just so much like I write it, it's up to them to do what they got to do, but I'm just here writing their contracts.
Right.
They got to figure that part out.
Recently, I've been putting in my counseling knowledge, all my counseling work, and now I offer the it's like a small business entrepreneur counseling session. It's kind of something like motivational. So if you call me for 30 minutes, and I've had people call and cry and say, hey, this is just so frustrating, I don't want to do it anymore. And we'll have a 30-minute talk, and I'll, you know, tell them, hey, this is reality, this is how it goes. You had a thought, you know, something put that thought into you. Let's bring it to life. So, and that'll put them back on gear. They probably have another call in 2 weeks, like, Mo, I was really serious, I don't want to do it no more. And we'll go through the same process until it's spurts.
So from what you see, what would you think are those 3 main reasons 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years?
Definitely funding, and that's something I've seen in my own community, from even small bodegas to the hair salons. There's so many, like, just the braiding shops that'll close because of funding. They think, oh, I'm gonna make profit from my clients, and that's gonna, you know, do me good. But people forget that you're also a person, and some of them have families. So, you know, you spend all this time on your business. You forget, okay, now I have to also pay my rent or my mortgage or my light bill at my house, right? And which is more important now? It's a struggle. I'm not going to let my family starve because I want to have a hair shop. So I'm going to close the hair shop and get back to the grind.
What do you think of the 2 other things?
So it's definitely the funding. I don't want to say discipline, but more of like a strong-willed aspect. So whenever someone starts to see, like the avalanche or just the negative sides of business, it's all too discouraging. Now they have to run for what they know, for what's comfortable, which is not being a business owner anymore and sticking to the average 9 to 5 or the career that makes them happy.
Yeah.
So that and support. Just in my own community, like I think it was a vegan shop they opened in East Orange, or on the border of East Orange in Newark. And I was talking to the owner, and he was telling me in the first year he thought he was going to close because people in that, that community, his neighbors didn't know, like, what are you selling? You selling me an alkaline blueberry donut? I'm good. I'm going to go to, Dunkin' Donuts and get a 99-cent donut as opposed to this healthy option that you're giving me because I'm not used to it. I'm not going to support. It's foreign to me. Mm-hmm. So definitely the support aspect. But definitely number one is funding.
Yeah. That's not my fault.
But the crazy thing with that journey of being an entrepreneur is that people don't realize that, like, what you're doing at the beginning is not automatically going to be profitable.
Right.
So it's like you have to put yourself in a position to where you're not relying on this business for the rest of your when I mean the rest of your life, I mean like everything else that's going on in your life at that moment. Like you can't rely on a business that's just starting up to pay your bills, to pay your car note, to do all this, because that business itself has to grow.
It takes at least 3 to 5 years to even get to that point where it's my hair shop pays for the car,
and you keep putting dollars back into your business and we talk about it all the time, passive income. Like Chris made a statement earlier. He was like, when he's 40 that he wants to do something.
Right.
You ask him, he's like, why that age? And I already know how he thinks, and he's like, he knows by the time that he's at the age where he's comfortable to where he can open it, and that will be something that whether it flops or whether it works, it won't affect his lifestyle. And I think a lot of people, there's a certain amount of groundwork that you do have to put in before you're able to get to that point to where like now I'm putting all my chips to myself. Because if you have more chips than some others, then, if you lose a couple, it might not be, that devastating. But some people, bet it all on themselves at the wrong moments before they really build that foundation. Because you can't build a house on top of soil. You have to lay that foundation down. And that's the years of sacrifice that may be, something that you don't necessarily want to do. I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh no, this is my
discipline
passion
aspect though.
Yeah. This is my passion. This is what I need to be doing right now. So I'm putting all my focus into this. It's like, no, do this. And then like you said, your mom, she had to work nursing, and then she would get up, and then I'm pretty sure the nursing wasn't her passion. The hair was. Yeah. So you get up, and now I have to sacrifice more sleep. I have to sacrifice more hours, and I'll put it in. But I know that the nursing is still paying my bills. I think that's an important thing in the entrepreneurial journey that people have to, really put a marker in, is that like you're not immediately there's a starving artist phase. Like you're not immediately going to be paid for your passions. Yeah. So you have to put things in place to fund those things to make sure that now all the work I'm putting into my passion can go back into my passion. And I don't have to take it back and put it in other areas of my life.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the second reason you gave, like the will or discipline. I would say mindset is a big part of it. I think most people, I would say, obviously, they don't have the mindset to be an entrepreneur because it really takes a lot. You know what I mean? You're not a normal person, per se. If you have a business, if you run a successful business, you're not a normal person. You are extremely productive. Like, there's so many things that you turn into to be an entrepreneur. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to go through that journey. And as far as funding, I think a lot of people just quit. I think a lot of people quit way too soon. They'll be, like you said, 3 to 5 years, which I think is completely accurate. People will go a year and a half into the 5-year journey and quit. Or they'll go 2 years, or they'll go 3 years. You said 3 to 5. Yeah, but I said to 5, They'll go 3 years and quit.
And all they needed was an extra month.
Yeah, it's like, you ever heard the idea of 3 feet away from gold?
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're digging all this to grow. You just quit. You're literally like 3 more shovels would have got you there, but you quit. And you just gave up. And I think that's what most people do. And like to Asante's point as well, with the funding and the cash flow and capital is so important, man. If you don't, like what I do for work, not even business-wise, what I do for work is I forecast cash flow. Man, we look at like, a year from now, how much money are we expecting to have? Oh, we're going to go negative this month. We got to do some planning around this. Like, how do I change this? What I got to do?
That is a major aspect of just business. Where I've realized that after starting my journey, right? Yeah. That's because, I have other streams of income. So my car, that's on Turo. I wanted that to just pay for itself and grow my fleet. And I had to realize Turo has an algorithm, right? And there are some months that will be extremely dry, like this month, dry. If you have a booking, it's just by chance or your car was extremely cheap. So I think it's December, late December, all of January, some in February, some in March, just dry months. And these are the months that you have to prepare for. So there are other months within the year that, what I'm just saying for the Northeast region. There are other months in the year where they'll turn your profits up a little bit so that you can scale and keep some of your profits and prepare for the dry months.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to just Turo. That was just Turo. Now I had to realize that with my own business. Right. There are some months or some parts of the year where I'm going to get grants. It's guaranteed. They're giving out grants. They're just giving out money. There's loans. They're just giving out the loans. You don't have to pay them back. Credit, the business credit. They're just giving me crazy amounts of money December, November, October. And then if I try to apply in March, I'm not getting what I got in October or December, right? And I have to understand, just based off my overhead and my finances, how I want to scale it for it to make sense for the entire 12 months. And I don't ever at one point feel like, oh man, I just spent all the money on whatever and what to do next. And I had to quit, you know?
And that's, I learned this from really wealthy people. And like, and even if you're not going to be an entrepreneur, say you just have audacious goals you want to accomplish. I caution young people, I'm young too, but like, you got to really, really understand, like, it's not glamorous. Like, don't think this is about to be like, you see on Instagram, you posing in front of cars and you having a good time. Yeah,
that's the popcorn culture. That's what we're in now.
That's not real, bro.
It's popcorn.
It's going to be the hardest. Achieving anything worthwhile, like achieving something that when you tell someone else you want to achieve it, they look at you like you're crazy. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life.
I agree.
And it's going to be the most challenging thing. It's going to have the most roadblocks. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to complete. You're going to have to be, at the end of that 5-year journey, like you said, you're going to have to be a completely brand new person. Yeah. And if you aren't willing to do that, then just don't start.
Word.
Because you're going to quit or you're going to give up. You know what I'm saying? Just don't start. You're better off just not starting, man, because it's hard. It's gonna be the hardest thing you ever did in your life.
Anything worth having, you have to put in time for. And I think that's something that people don't really understand in today's age, is because, like you said, popcorn, like we look, it's like, oh, this person posted on TikTok or they posted on Instagram that last year they just started up their business, and then Dwight Howard bought a pair of their socks, and then now they're funding half the NBA, and they're driving Teslas, and they're courtside at game. That's not everybody's journey.
It's not real.
And who's to say that in 5 years that freaking the sock that he's making, like, that material's obsolete, and that maybe
that's another thing
his shit happened that fast because there was no longevity that was ever going to be a part of it. The person that made the Nerf gun maybe wasn't expecting for their thing to be popular for 30 years, right? Yeah. But it's like, there's nothing that came to take that out. He created his own lane, and he probably had to go to a lot of, hey, I have a gun that can shoot foam. Like, that didn't sound like a profitable business, but he put in the work, or he or she, whoever, put in the work, and they back their product, and their product is gonna outlast everything because they put in that time.
And that goes into, like I said again, the not sexy part about business. Like, there's something called Porter's 5 Forces, and if you're making a business, you got to look at, okay, what's the barriers to entry? What are the replacement products? And I know, like, we say why 95% of people fail in business, because they're not doing that. They're not budgeting. They're not forecasting. They're not looking at the threats. They're not looking at trends. They're not looking at industry. They're not doing any of that.
They stay fixated on that one idea that they had.
And
I had to learn that quick. So my first focus was just this one service. Then I realized during some months, I'm not going to have any clients. I need to have another service that I can provide. Yeah. If this service fails, I have a backup service. If any of the services do not work, I have another side of business. I have a nonprofit that I know brings in donations. It brings in funding. I can always, for whatever reason, use it as a stabilization course.
Word. So. And that I think being able to pivot and being able to adapt like that is one of the most important things for business, because my big brother, he has training and services through he has what is it called? We were talking about the other day. He has an enterprise. Okay. Right. And within his company, he offers He's like a licensed phlebotomist. He can teach you how to take blood. He's CPR certified. He can teach you how to swim. All these other things because he's a police officer and he did like all these courses to get his certifications for. And then he has another side of his business where he offers things like commercial cleaning. He offers like stripping, waxing floors. When COVID happened, he wasn't getting any jobs. He introduced sanitation and full like germicidal cleaning and stuff like that. When that flopped and it was cold and now places were shut down, he went out. He got trucks. He made sure he had like got a contract with the airport. So like, all right, it snows, So it's like it's just you being able to adapt with literally the seasons. That's like one of the most important things because, yeah, in summer I might want a cup of lemonade, but now in the winter you have all these lemons. Like, oh, I could sell hot chocolate in the winter,
Right.
and that hot chocolate will pay for the lemons that I'm not using, and then when I'm not, I can sell lemonade again. So it's like like we said before, like that your vision that you might have, you might think everything's gonna be a clear path, but there's certain Euro steps and adjustments that you definitely have to take within business that's gonna help you. And I think that's really important because we live in a generation now where everything is instant gratification and everybody sees someone else doing something and they, pretty much fall in love with a facade and no one ever falls in love with the work because you never see what it takes, like we talked about before, to be a Steph Curry or Damian Lillard. You just see that they have their jerseys and everyone loves them, but you didn't see the hours it took or the broken relationships that happened because of it. All these things.
Picasso was one of the artists, maybe not Picasso, but painted 3 paintings every single day for 60 years straight.
Crazy.
That's
crazy.
And a composer, they said if you wanted to transcribe all his work, it would take you like 3 decades of 8-hour days. Like that's how much work these people put in to be the best or to achieve, like I said, a remarkable goal, like something that's just like out of this world. Like if you want to be the next Picasso, are you willing to paint every single day for the next 60 years? 3 paintings a day?
That's tough.
Scales, people, sacrifice.
Definitely.
Gotta sacrifice. If you're not anything that comes without sacrifice is probably illegal or something that's not gonna last very long. To be honest. So you see these people right now flexing with their PPPs and all that other stuff. Stay down, stay your course, stay your journey, and you're gonna be all right.
That's gonna be a bad day for a lot of people, bro. When the IRS always comes, and that
we're gonna be like 30, and they're like, "Yo,
you know what's crazy?
No, they're coming now.
Joe Byron not playing.
That's what's crazy about the IRS, bro.
Yeah, they'll come.
Later.
Yeah, later. You'll be like, "Oh, I'm chilling. They never came for me."
That's why,
and that's knock.
We're gonna give a warning to our listeners, bro. The Cash App stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my mentor was telling me when Square first came out, he was doing a lot of different transactions for Square, all this stuff for Square, and then one day, like, I think he said 2 years later, he got like a bill from the IRS for like $60,000, and then he had to go back and prove that like what everything that was happening to Square, he got it all taken away, but he had to prove, and he was warning me. He goes, use Cash App and stuff a lot. He was like, trust me, like that happened with me with Square. It's gonna happen with you guys. Like, pay attention to like writing food when you send a Cash App or Venmo, like because if they see that like you get over $600 combined in all of them, first off, Cash App won't even send you paperwork. You got to call them and get the documents that you need. I think it's Section C, whatever. What do you?
I think 1099K.
It'd be a 1099 from them. So you
Yeah.
need 1099K. You got to call them for it. And if the IRS file, like say you don't file, and the IRS gets you 3 years later, they're gonna hit you with like, first you either got to prove that hey, this $10,000 I went through my Cash App was just, we restaurant here, food here, this here. So you're better off keeping track of it now yourself, so that you could prove it when the tax year is over. But don't be that guy.
Don't come here.
I be trying to tell everybody, don't use Cash App. If you was serious
cash,
about
bro.
business, do not use Cash App.
Cash.
Do
Zelle
not.
or cash.
No, Zelle's the same thing. Zelle, Cash App, Venmo.
Nah, but your bank statement will be a lot easier to get it
Okay, yeah.
because you have 2 different accounts.
Yeah, true. Zelle will be easier. Facts. Yeah, Zelle will be a lot easier.
Cash App is very hackable too. That's the other reason.
Facts.
What?
Word.
I think I touched my somebody's Cash App card on my phone and the tag popped up. I'm like, yeah, nah, this is too sus.
And
Too sus.
if your Instagram got taken by one of these Cash App bots, I ain't go front. I'm definitely judging you. Cause why you clicked on that link?
Bro, I
my
saw
boy?
one homie who they got him so bad, bro. There was a video of him recording himself talking about, yo, you could trust this. Then he had the audacity to be like, yo, guys, that
That's
wasn't
not
me.
me.
I got hacked. Bro, we
Like,
saw you on
what?
your story talking.
Man, Look, this is before we get out of here. This is a nugget. All right. If anybody you don't know, right, is trying to help you, and they're making it seem like they're not benefiting from it. And, I mean, there's good people out there. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely good people.
For sure.
But no one is gonna be like, "Yo, bro, I gotta wait for you to make money, and it's not gonna help me, and I just want to help you and change your family lives."
Or if they hit you with the, bro, I got a $20 strategy that turned $100 into $10,000. My nigga.
If they don't know you personally and they don't want to see you grow,
Yeah.
if they don't know you personally and they don't want to see you grow, or if they're not getting anything from it, the shit is a scam.
Something.
Look into it.
Something
right?
for nothing is impossible.
Or
Even the Bible says it. You will never ever get something for nothing.
Because I definitely got caught up with the remember they had the triangle one. You send that person up there $5.
Ooh.
Definitely got caught up.
Yeah, the
I
first
definitely
person
did, and then I got stuck.
The first person
I never got my money.
Yeah, the first person that asked me to do that shit.
Yeah.
My first question to them, I said, "How does it end?" They were like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, how does this ever end?" If the last person on top, he's like, "All right, I'm the last person getting my money."
Yeah.
Everybody underneath them is fucked.
Yeah.
So that this thing literally has to go on for the rest of your life.
It does.
So I tried to tell people. So I've actually read like the Federal Trade Commission laws on all those things, like network marketing. Yeah, I mean,
I was definitely in a legit Ponzi
Yeah.
scheme, and I remember when I'm not gonna mention the name or the guy's name, but when he did get like when they cracked, this went on for 6 years, and we were
Wow.
making like bank.
Yeah.
I didn't know like my family was all doing it. It was like
Don't incriminate
put your
yourself,
They was like no, they already caught him. I
Okay.
wasn't, you know. They was like put your $200 in. We make $1,000 each week. I'm like, oh wow. I think I was in high school. I did a whole commercial for these people. Anywho, when they finally cracked down on the man, he already knew they was coming after him. This is years.
Yeah.
So he flew to his home country, which is miles away, and they found him in like a hostel in his home country. He was like tucked away, and now he's in federal prison.
Yeah. So this is
They
like,
brought him back. He's in federal prison, but
So-
they tried to sue everyone that was part of it, but
Yeah,
we all didn't.
They don't play.
So.
So how you know if someone ever asks you to say give money
Right.
or something, but you don't get a product or service back in return, it's a Ponzi scheme.
The only thing I've seen like that work before was Jamaicans do it a lot. They do partners.
Or the
So-
susu.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
The same
gonna
thing.
say a
So
susu.
it'd be like, all right, us four, we'll all put $200 in, right? And that 800 at the end of the month, you touch it first.
A
And then-
susu is cool because I feel like it circulates. It's just,
Exactly.
You know.
But you have to do it with people that you trust.
right,
Right.
Yeah.
right, right.
Don't
right,
click on any links, people. Don't.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
It's different
Stop
'cause
it.
You'll put like 200 for the next 4 months, and depending on the month you're in, you'll get 800.
It's basically
Yeah.
like a
It's
savings.
a
They just
savings
giving your
account.
savings back.
And the amount of money you put a lot to how much you get.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the partner is 200
Yeah.
and you throw 4, then when you collect, you get to collect 16.
See, like a Ponzi would be like this though. Hey, give me $25, I'll give you back 50.
Yeah, that's what we did.
That's a Ponzi scheme.
We gave 200
Nigga,
just
how
as
the
a
fuck-
membership.
Doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So there's no product or service attached to it.
Word.
It's a scheme. Now,
Right.
if someone says, now say you give someone $20, you get $20 worth of products back that you sell for 50. That's business. But a lot of people get caught up in Ponzi schemes. Like, oh my God, the next person who DM me about Bitcoin.
But now they got fronts up, so you'll pay that $200 membership, and those like storefronts sell you like bowls and cell phones and sneakers, and it's at your own risk if you want to purchase or sell it to somebody,
Yeah.
but you still are going to make that 1,000 that you put that 200 for.
Word. Let me set this straight now. I don't want to wake up now. I don't want to make money from my phone. I don't want to get paid for a living for taking vacations. I don't want any Bitcoining. I don't.
I mean, you want Bitcoin.
No. I mean, like mining. Oh, I can teach you this Bitcoin mining
People-
method. Fuck you, Christian Lopez is my cousin.
Someone
Okay,
got me tight.
and I know Mo, and Alasia.
People got me tight.
And then 5.
I almost fell for that though.
What's
Bitcoin mining?
What's the
Yes.
last thing?
Almost duffed
I don't
it.
want anything on Cash App.
No, one guy hit me up talking about some, like, cause me and Jace, we're into Bitcoin. He would hit me up like, yo, put $200 into invest into Bitcoin mining. I said, how? How am I gonna invest into Bitcoin mining? Bro, just trust me. I did it and I put in $200. I got back 1,000 just cause man.
This
bro.
dude posted a brand new BMW, and he was like, "Yo, I got this off Bitcoin mining." I'm in his DMs like, "Bro, for real? I need a new car for Turo." He's like, "Yeah, all you need is 200. All you need is 200. We can get you today." Whole time it's a scam.
Bro, because Bitcoin mining is, bro, you literally, we're talking like energy grids of like, so like they mostly use clean energy grids of energy to get these computers that then actually goes in and does the work. You think you can, like, people are just, and what get me mad is like, why are you scamming people like this?
And that shit ain't cheap. That shit is not. One of my cousins does it. He has 6 monitors running when he's not home.
See what I'm saying?
What, Bitcoin mining?
Wait, which
Yeah.
cousin?
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna
Those
criminal.
mining machines are mad.
No,
like,
that's not a criminal
It
crime.
depends
Huh?
on
Mine's
how
not a
you
crime.
get them.
No, I said I ain't gonna tell his business.
Does he use clean energy? You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it use clean energy because it's cheaper. You know, energy's cheap, but
Get your ETH up, people.
well, I wouldn't tell nobody to buy anything right now.
At
It's not a
all.
financial advice.
All right.
I mean, unless you want like a black market sale,
You think
Black
so?
Friday sale.
It's in the red.
I feel like it's too.
You don't buy the top, you buy the bottom.
I feel like it's very unstable right now. Like
I
don't know
agree.
if you don't know it's gonna go all the way down or all the way up. I'm still gonna buy regardless because I love it. But
I love this shit.
you know, I think we got a bear market coming in the next 6 months.
but it's been on the same kind of roller coaster. It hasn't been stable in a while,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a good while.
It'll never be stable.
I'm gonna keep buying it. It's not gonna stop. It'll be stable when the market cap is high enough.
So for the people
You know,
that was smart
Stock
enough,
market is
to pay
27 times
attention,
larger.
right? And then you entered for the free hoodie. We picking today, all right? So there was a lot of y'all out there, okay? More people than we could even really, we could ever imagine. So, I mean, it wasn't that many of y'all. Not a lot of y'all were really moving that smart. So we gonna pick a name out the hat, and we gonna let y'all know who won. Who is it?
Mayor, my brother Blair,
Wow,
my boy.
That's crazy. So Amir, actually, I'm actually excited that he won because he is an avid listener.
A
of the
very
show.
avid
And you
listener.
deserve this. And for all the people that's gonna be out there, be like, oh, that was planned. It wasn't. All right, because there's other names in his hat, and I don't really care.
My
what you think.
boy.
But
My boy.
yeah. So Amir, we're gonna contact you. We're gonna let you know. You pick your size. You pick the color of the hoodie you want, and we're gonna get you right. Zip up,
Nice.
pull over, whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, we're gonna be doing more stuff like this. Once again, if you don't take advantage of it,
Tough.
not the smartest person.
I'm about to text him.
So yeah, next time we will be selling one of Mo's cars off Toro. So pay attention to
I
that.
would hope so.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Demigod Chronicles. This has been another week. Lay's throwing shit and she's giving people advertising. We don't do that. But
Sorry.
yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, thank you for coming.
Of course, thanks for having me.
You're a very
This
good
was
guest.
cool. We had some great conversations.
Word.
This was cool.
Definitely did. Lay, thank you for bringing her.
I know that's my secret sniper.
You said
Plug your Instagram.
Yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah, y'all go ahead and follow me.
your book, all that. Tell everything.
Okay, follow me on my business pages. So on everything is Speedy Service Co. On everything on
Okay.
Instagram and Twitter, and I think we now have a Tumblr. Yeah, on TikTok, Moyanda Pierre. That's it.
Okay. And your book that's coming out,
Yes, February 21st. That's my birthday.
and your 2 nonprofits.
What about them?
You plug them.
Oh no, you guys will see, or if you follow my business page, you'll see flyers for all the upcoming events.
Okay, so she's
Yeah.
saying do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
so
go
she
ahead
can
and
do
follow that,
what
and
she
you'll see
needs to do.
everything.
Okay.
I give grant tips and a lot of grants that are coming out. So people usually pay. Like, I hate that they do this, but they usually charge, I think $30 to $100 a month, and they'll give you one nonprofit a month. Like, I mean, not nonprofit, one grant a month to apply to, right? So you're basically paying someone to get a grant application that you might not get the money for. So in return, I provide free grants every month. Yeah. So if you tuned in, you'll get the free grants and stuff.
Yeah, you heard it. Free grants. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Whether you stopped listening after 30 seconds or you made it to this point, we appreciate you for giving us a chance. Follow everybody on their respective social medias at cb.lopez, at Alasia Ashley when she's available. She's exclusive like a sneaker drop, and she is
Available.
She's available right now. People, long hair don't care.
I know.
Hashtag baddie. Follow her on her stuff. February 21st, you said?
Yes.
February 21st, her book is coming out. We will be posting that. And
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
maybe we could set up, a little spotlight,
yeah.
about your book, and you guys
Wow.
we'll talk about something behind the scenes.
Okay,
so
that's
just
cool.
definitely look out for that. Follow Jace at JSquay. Follow
follow
us
him.
at the Demigod Chronicles _ on Instagram and at the DGC on Twitter. And you can find me at _ Demigod _
Don't follow
and
me.
at MSTRD _ studio spelled with a V.
This is every episode.
Yeah, thank you people. We out of here. Chris, hit the people with some Spanish.
I don't want to.
No Spanish today?
No.
No Spanish? You don't speak Spanish no more, Chris.
Dime, ¿por qué tú no hablas español? Tú sabes también,
I
¿no?
don't know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Cat.
Super cat. ¿Cómo se dice cap en español?
Chimosa.
Chimosa. Tú eres una
So
chimosa.
what they said times 2. We out of here. Grr, bow.
Wow.